Hello everyone. To talk about what has happened today in Kenyan politics, about how Martha Karua has unveiled her new party, the People's Liberation Party, and in the launch you could see Rigathi Gachagua, Kalonzo Musyoka, Eugene Wamalwa, among other key leaders who are in the opposition side of the government. So I would like to get some of the views on how do you see, like, if this new party, Martha Karua's party, is aiming towards change in Kenyan politics, or it might be the new liberation movement towards good governance in Kenya in accordance to the current political environment in Kenya to push for, or I'd just like to get some of the views. And do you see if it's also a unifying party? Because since she has gone ahead and formed it with the name Liberation, meaning it's a kind of a liberator party, and it has different leaders from different regions. We have some from Western Kenya, some from Eastern Kenya. The main point is that, do you see it bringing change, or do you see it being a liberator for what we want as Kenyans, for the Kenya we want? I'd like to get some of your views. Another additional point, once in politics they say, in a political society, there exist different elites, or there exist two groups in every political society. And one group inafananishwa na fox, another group inafananishwa na lion. So in politics they say, when the lions are in power, the foxes always go and tell the people that the lions are not doing the good thing. The people go ahead supporting the foxes. They support the foxes until the foxes arise to power to replace the lions. But when the foxes come to the seat, wakikalia hiyo kiti, they behave the same way, the way the lions that were on that seat used to behave. So in accordance to the formation of Martha Karua's party, I would just like to get views on what's your take on Karua's move. Will it really take us forward? Will it bring us the change that we want? Or, because in politics, politicians always have their own interests. We have seen many instances in Kenya where people come, they tell us that we are now your liberators. We are just people like you. We are normal people. But when they rise to power, they really change completely and become the people that we didn't expect. So I would like to get views on if you see the new Karua's party as a really liberating movement, or do they have their own interest at heart and not the mwananchi interest? Welcome, Jiro.
Yeah, sawa. Sijui kama unanipata. Jenzi Messiah. Okay, thank you very much. Wacha ni kuintroduce kiasi kwa show yetu siku ya leo. Karibu sana. Maybe for the people who are joining us today and in the future, so that we can also be able to get the value ya ile mambo tunafanya hapa. We have decided to incorporate the young people in our platform. So Gen Z Messiah mtakuwa mnamuonanga hapa occasionally. Na I know she'll be somebody who will be able to help us also to understand that generation. Unajua tu tuliona tu mlipuko kubwa sana last year pale June. We just saw mlipuko kubwa ya young people and we couldn't understand them. So I think now with her here, I mean these other things which are happening in Kenya tunaweza saidiana. Maybe to start with, Gen Z, there was a very big meeting today ya kulaunch hiyo chama ya Mother Karua. I don't know if it is the beginning of a coalition ama lakini tumeona all the people who want to form an opposition coalition in Kenya ni kama walikuwa hapo. Nimeona very long, there was a very long line. Kuna picha nimekutana nayo saa hii, nimeona I saw Gachagua there, I saw even some Ugandans there. I think ni wale wa kutoka kule kwa Besigye, maybe wale lawyers. I saw like a guy from Uganda there. Nimeona Eugene, nimeona Karonzo, like it was full of wale watu wako kwa serikali ya Ruto. So a question which we should also ask ourselves is, do we think that hiyo mkutano ya Mother Karua siku ya leo, purple, na by the way najua purple is a color of unity, purple is a color of unity. So tujiulize ya kwamba hiyo Mother Karua anawashiria nini? Well, is it the right move kutoka from na Kenya kuenda kwa hiyo Liberation Party? Is it going to have an impact in Kenya? Is it going to build her? Hizo ndizo zile vitu sasa we need to start asking ourselves. So kuna vitu mingi we can actually agree and talk about. Then in the same time pia I also saw that Kimanongo, that is Kimani yule wa pale, the majority leader wa mbunge, he was interviewed in Al Jazeera. So that is also another thing. So Kimani Kimanongo was interviewed in Al Jazeera. I hope people have watched that. Maybe later in the day naweza kuja nicheze hiyo video hapa. But Kimanongo, there is a guy called Hemedi Hassan, ni journalist wa Al Jazeera. Na Hemedi Hassan ameweka Kimani Ichung'wah yani into a very serious sijui kama mumeona hiyo video ya Kimani Kimanongo, maybe you can tell me, but huyo jamani kama hajajibu chochote. So that's also something we need to analyze also, hiyo interview ya Ichung'wah Al Jazeera. So it was a very, very bad interview. I couldn't even believe on it. So on that, still we don't know what Raila Odinga is planning. Raila Odinga tunajua ako na Ruto almost miguu mbili. So we don't know if he will be a confusion agent kwa hii pande ya kina upinzani sasa, the organic upinzani which is trying to form up. So Madam Gen Z, Juria namuona kwa hapa and all the other people. Kuna watu wengi sana, they usually join our kipindi. So I will just wish you a good time hapa. You can also try to tell us what has been happening around, especially for the young people. Nasikianga Juria akisema yeye ni mama, anakuanga mama wa Gen Z. So be assured somebody like Juria is somebody close to your mom. So Juria, we have decided to be having Gen Zs hapa with an aim of enriching our program. So msichana wetu atatuongoza hapa kidogo, and I hope you will enjoy her program for now. So sina ingine ya kuongeza, I will be back again. Thank you sana Gen Z, you can take the program. Mnaweza ongea na Julia hapa. Naona guys kona ni comment nasoma. Naona guys kona anasema ameona hiyo interview ya Kimani na Hemedi. We will see it. It was lovable. Again nasalimia wale watu wako kwa comment section. Naona Bundi leo usipotee, ukuje you contribute. Naona Hiram yuko kama kawaida. Yeah, guys kona yako hapo. So Mariam, you have not come for so long. Anyway, thank you and I appreciate. Asante. Gen Z unaweza endelea.
Okay, thank you. I can see in the comment section, Ipsy is saying
Oh, naona Julia ametoka and
Martha Karua and
Julia,
her team out to take out. Oh, I was reading Gipsy's comment. Martha Karua and her team have convinced Raila to take out the broad-based CS in order to form a strong coalition. I don't think Raila can step down to take down CSS in order to form a broad coalition with the Martha Karua, because clearly during or after the Gen Z protests, Raila took advantage of Gen Z protests to make sure that his people are being included in Ruto's government. He used the Gen Z sweat to get to satisfy his own personal interest. So I don't see if Raila can step down and take out his CSS in order to form a strong coalition with Karua. Can never happen. Politicians always have their own interests at heart. And you saw it clearly when Gen Z fought for what they wanted. And Raila took advantage of that to take his followers to go and be part of the cabinet secretaries that Ruto chose after dissolving the cabinet. And then another question, Raila will not get out of broad-based government, never. The corruption, yeah, XL Bund, yeah, I actually agree with you on that. As I have said concerning Gipsy's comment here, um, Alex Bund is also saying, these purple shenanigans will fade. The mountain has never seen the valley of Karua. I believe in Karua, but I doubt in between Karua and Gachagua, the mountain can decide on Karua. In the comment section, you can be giving us our view concerning the issue of gender in accordance to how Karua has agreed to form the new party. If it will bring an effect, if it will bring some maybe negative impact based on support and
yeah,
based on support.
maybe Jens, 1 minute, you can give Julia a chance to speak. Maybe anasema kuna internet issues and maybe I will come up later. So na watu mkuja kwa kipindi, musiweke msichana wetu peke yake hapa, musimuweke njeve. So you people, you have to come to, my dear friends, you have to come kwa kipindi. I'll be back later, but Julia can give a comment. Thank you. Na mtu mwingine atakuja, they can also say we are here to support you. Asante.
Hello, Julia. You can unmute your mic so that we also hear your views. Julia, are you there?
Alikuwa anasema alikuwa na issue ya mic, maybe mic yake ikifanya vizuri she will come on board. Maybe you can discuss briefly what happened during the day, especially hiyo mkutano ya Karua. You can also maybe, I don't know if Ruto and any events, and then from there you can also be tell us about the way forward, zile vitu ambazo zinafanyika. There is a lot, especially in the wave of young majenzi walitoka, but are still Gen Z there ama walienda wapi? Ni kama siku hizi tunaonanga tu akina Kasamuel wale walimezwa na serikali. Where are Gen Z these days, by the way?
They are
Are they
still
there?
there, but they are there, but this fear of abductions and all this stuff, yeah, they cannot come up and put all the things in public the way they used to put meetings. I don't know what demonstrations. Yeah, the issue of abduction has really been a problem, but they are there.
Okay, sawa. Gen Z, that one is okay. I think you can interact with Jared Joram and any other person who will be coming unaweza waleta kwa stage. Yeah, Julia anasema she cannot be able to speak now. So, but Jared can be able to contribute. Jared, go ahead. Thank you.
Hello, Njiru, let me come back in 1 minute.
Okay, ni sawa. Jared will be coming back, so utaangalia tu uone kama utamleta once he is back. I think he is having some issue na network. Okay, that one is okay. So maybe as a matter of also asking, I hope so I think nilisikia on the Opio and I the other day akisema kuna coalition mbili. Kuna coalition ya Wamonyoro, that is the Gachagua one, na kuna hii coalition nyingine ya Ruto. So Gen Z, where do you think Gen Zs will go? Wataenda wapi? Who will they support? All Gen Zs ama wanataka chama yao peke yao?
Exactly. They can't support any of those sides because we always know every side have
Ngoja
their own
kidogo,
interest.
kuna unajua huyu Budi ni mchokozi sana. Budi anasema ati utuwekee sauti juu kidogo. So please just raise up your voice a little bit. Wewe kidogo na bwana Budi usisumbue msichana wetu like usianzie kumweka uoga. Anyway, speak but ongezea volume kidogo. I understand.
Okay, what was I saying? Okay, Gen Z can't take any side, ikuwe ya Wamunyoro ama ikuwe the Ruto's side, because we know every politicians have their own interests. Gachagua ako na interest zake, Ruto ako na interest zake. So sisi we go, if it's forming a party, the Gen Z party, it will always be for the people's interests. But if we go and join either of those parties, I don't see if we will be having people's interest at heart. Am I audible now?
Don't worry, hizo hivyo ndivyo mafans wanaongeanga, so lazima you have to be ready to listen to what fans say. Unajua kipindi ni yao kipindi ni ya mafans, so mafans wakisema changamuka lazima uchangamuke.
And then there's something else. When Karua unveiled her party today, I think I've seen Ruto saying that those who are forming parties, I don't know what they want or something, but I know I'm sure in the 2027 elections, I will beat all of them because they don't have focus, they don't know what they are doing. So maybe if you can give your views, if Ruto's speech can affect or shake what Karua has started to unveil or be a liberator for the Kenyan people. Do you think that
Gen Z
Ruto's opinion will shake Karua or something?
Hapana, opinion ya Ruto is one of the most fake one. Ruto hakuna mtu anamsikilizanga. You can even see the memes zile zinachezwa. So Ruto had to rubbish them. You know, let me tell you, ukiona kitu yote Ruto ana rubbish is a very serious one. Yeah. Anyway, interact na Jared, I will be back. Jared, saidia mrembo wetu hapa as you try to unclothe hiyo swali ananiuliza. I will be back. Yeah, na kunasemekana tuinue sauti, so okay. we have to raise our voices. So I know Jared anakuanga kama kingora. We have no problem with Jared. Jared sauti yake ni ile ya Zayuni. Jared, go ahead.
Okay, let me just comment on Martha Karua rebranding of her political party, which I understand is now called People Liberation Party. That's the new name of the party. That was, rebranded today. Their colors, as much as they look like they are purely colors, but I watched very keenly, the speeches during the launch. One of the things that came up in Jiru in that event was, some of the things that came up in that event was on how, they are going to ensure that, they take William Samoei Ruto home. That was one of the things that came up. And I listened to all the the speakers, and they were in one agreement that as much as everybody is contesting to become a presidential candidate, but immediately they agree on who the presidential candidate will be, then they will all back that one particular presidential candidate. So to me, that sounded a good thing. So it's a wait and see on whether they will actualize that particular promise. But if they can actualize that particular promise on whether to back one candidate that they will have agreed on, then that would be a good thing. That would be a very, very good thing. The other thing that I noticed in that congregation was uh, there were two speakers who were there was a speaker from Tanzania, the chairperson of what is called the ACT Wazalendo Party. Then there was a speaker from Uganda who is the mayor of the city of Kampala. And they dwelt on the issues of human rights violations that have been experienced here, that have been experienced in Tanzania, and that have been experienced in Uganda. So, the human rights violations are a real big concern in East Africa, because you go to Tanzania, there are serious human rights violations. You go to Uganda, there are serious human rights violations. Then in Kenya, since 25th of June last year, you discover that, there have been a lot of human rights violations. A lot of human rights violations. And again, there's one thing that I agreed with Kalonzo Musyoka. We need to declare 25th June 20, 25th June of every year the Gen Z Day, or we can call it the Gen Z Liberation Day, because that is the day that the Gen Z played a very crucial role, and this day should not be let to get lost. We must come up with a way that we can have that day commemorated. We used to commemorate Saba Saba, but the spirit of Saba Saba is now dying slowly and slowly. That it's no longer being commemorated in the manner that it used to be commemorated. So it is my thinking, and I'm in agreement with Kalonzo Musyoka, that 25th June, just to remember the souls of young people who were killed, some inside Parliament premises. It is important that the 25th June every year becomes a day that will be marked in remembrance of the young people who were killed during that day. Then there was Rigiji himself, and he said that since he was born, he has never met a liar like William Samoei Ruto. And perhaps we say that you can crucify the messenger, but it is important that as much as you want to crucify the messenger, that you analyze the message. The message, not many people. There are many people even online who there are many people online who are attacking the regime from his what I'll call his personality. But there are particular messages that he's giving that are real very important messages. Real very important messages. For example, it has come out clearly that William Samoei Ruto is not a sincere leader. That if he tells you that 1+1 is 2, then you must cross-check as much as 1+1 is 2. But if William Samoei Ruto tells you that 1+1 is 2, then it's a matter that you must cross-check, because his 1+1 could very easily become 4 or 6. So anything that William Samoei Ruto tells you, you don't need to take it on face value. And that on that particular point, I did agree with Reggie that William Samoei Ruto is not a person that can be trusted, because he has told the people of Kenya many things and they have ended up not working. And that's why I'm saying that, as much as arithmetically that 1+1 is supposed to be 2, but for William Samoei Ruto, 1+1 is not automatically 2. So perhaps I'll stop there unless there is somebody who has a question, because I can see there's a new person, there's a guest here that perhaps we can also invite. That's who? Somebody who has just come in, he can pick up from where I've left so that he can also make his own contribution. Thank you.
Welcome, Clinton.
Hello guys. This is CleanFix. Somebody has just shared the live to me to say something, but actually I don't know where you guys were, but I've seen here the title say is Mother Karua Purple Party building up the beginning of a major coalition, right? So
Yeah.
my take for this one is I think it is high time. I think forming a mega coalition party is not a big deal for Kenyans right now. I think these leaders need to do right now is just choose one candidate, because it is the dream of every Kenyans to take Kasongo back home. Yeah, I think they should just elect one leader and say, we need to back up this one leader. We need to send this one leader back home. So let's take one main leader that we will all support. Don't tell us that Morara Kebaso will vie for the presidential seat. Martha Karua will still vie for the presidential seat. You see Wamunyoro, the way he's talking, he might even vie for the presidential seat. You can see even Ruto himself will vie for the presidential seat. The way Baba has spoken today, saying that he needs a green light from Kenyans. So most probably their next announcement is going to tell us I will vie for the presidential seat. The other day we saw Kalonzo. We've seen today, yesterday, Babu Owino has officially endorsed Kalonzo as the presidential candidate. Now we have many presidential candidates coming 2027, and our main objective in 2027 is we must send Kasongo back home, right? Therefore, we just need one candidate. These people could just come up together. They join forces and say, let's nominate one leader. We all want this presidential seat. But right now, we only have one problem. We only want to send Ruto back home. So let's just choose one of us and let's all of us back him, because our main objective is to send this man back home. I think that will do better than forming coalition parties like Martha Karua has formed her purple party. The next day you will see, Kalonzo have launched his party. Wamunyoro is to launch his party again. All these will give again the confusion in the 2027 elections. And again, this thing of Raila vying for this presidential seat, personally, I don't think it is a good sign for Kenyans, because this man, to me, he's done his best. He messed up the way he wanted. I think it's high time he retires. Maybe just back up one person, but not Ruto. He should never back up Ruto. For him to restore his dignity and all the liberation he had for Kenyans, he should not back up Ruto. The way you've seen even the speech yesterday, the way he was talking, he was like, we must end corruption, we must stop the abductions and killings, we must restore the dignity of the payslip, we must respect the constitution. All these things he was talking about, he was directing them to Ruto, but indirectly. So if you add 1 + 1 together, you will see that indeed Raila, in layman's language, you say, ameanza kukua kigeugeu. Now that he did not succeed in the AUC and he wanted that one vote from the AUC chairmanship, he's like, okay, now I've failed. I really wanted this AUC, but I failed. What should I do now? Because I'm not ready to give up for this position. Let me just go. Yeah? So let me just go back home and do what I do best. Let me go and be the opposition. And all these coalitions party this man, if he decides to vie for that seat, will indeed confuse all these mega coalition parties that are being formed against one man. So my take is they should just nominate one leader, and they say, let's just back up that one leader. We just back up one leader only. We want Kasongo back home in Sugoi. We can only do that, sorry, we can only do that when we elect one leader, we nominate one leader, and let's all of us with the candidates or the presidential seat leave it to that one leader instead of forming a mega coalition party. I think they should just come up with a main mega coalition party, which will only have one candidate. Let the presidential seat for the candidate for the elections be only two running mates, Ruto and person X. If we have Ruto and person X, and that person X is being backed up with every leader, everyone that is being opposed, I think they will have done something more greater than just forming a coalition party. That is my view.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you so much. Thank you so much,
Let me
Moses.
just say
So,
something, on what you have said. I'm in total agreement with what you have said fully. If you speak to any average Kenyan, any average Kenyan is in one agreement that we must send Kasongo home. So we have identified the person that we need to send home. The only thing that we are still struggling with, is who will replace Kasongo, when we take Kasongo home. And that's where we must be very, very careful on who shall replace Kasongo, who shall succeed Kasongo. Because everybody agrees that Kasongo must go home. But when he goes home, who will succeed Kasongo? This is like a revolution. A revolution must have, a plan. Because, a revolution without a plan, you could succeed in it, but, it ends up aborting if you don't have, a real leader to lead it. So, we need, so, we are in agreement that, we are moving towards an electoral revolution to remove Kasongo. And everybody's in an agreement that we must remove Kasongo. But who will replace Kasongo? And I remember yesterday we had a long deliberation on this issue here with Jiru. And I was trying to give I was trying to give my own thinking on how what I call a common front candidate can be arrived at. Either first by having a convention of perhaps the civil society, political parties, the church leaders. Then you list everybody who wants to become a presidential candidate. Then after having the entire list of everybody who wants to become a presidential candidate, then you start knocking one after one, depending on how strong or weak the candidate is, and on an agreement that if you are struck out, then you must support whoever will become the ultimate candidate for this common front. That is an area that can be pursued, and because without a common candidate, then we could end up in the dilemma that we were in 1992 and 1997, where Daniel Arap Moi was a minority president with 30%, when majority of Kenyans never voted for him. On Raila Odinga, personally, I gave up on Raila Odinga totally. I used to be his supporter. I gave up on him because he has betrayed us. He has conned us politically. I gave up on him, and I don't care even if he was to join Kasongo run on his own. That does not bother me at all. And my consolation is one that looking at the numbers the way they stand, even if Raila was to join Kasongo, or even if he was to run, as Raila Odinga, then his impact will not be that much. Because look at the numbers. For example, in 2022, Raila Odinga got 6.9 million votes. That's what he got. But if you look at this number, the 6.9, you'll discover that the counties of Ukambani, the counties of Kisii, and the counties of Mulembe, the 4 counties of Western Kenya, if you add what they gave Raila Odinga, they gave Raila Odinga 1,950,000, almost 2 million votes. That's what they gave him out of the 6.9. Then, they are what we call the Kisis, the Luyas, and the Kambas who are in the diaspora. People who don't live back at home. For example, I come from Busia, but I've never voted in Busia. People like myself. So, if you ask the number of such people like me, who voted for Raila, for example, the Luyas, who voted for Raila outside Western Kenya, the Kambas who voted for Raila outside Western Kenya, the kisses, then it will come to around another 1 million. So that will give you a total of 2.9 million votes. Then our brothers from Mount Kenya gave Raila 1.3 million votes. Then if you add 1. That will come to around 3.1 million. So where Raila stands today, he stands on a very shaky ground because almost 3 million votes that he enjoyed in 2022, he's not enjoying them today because of the way people feel. People feel betrayed. People feel let down. Then there is the Gen Z factor. The young people feel that this man conned them. This man took advantage of their cause. Then they are not happy with the old man. So, where the old man stands, he stands on a very shaky ground. That even if he was to support William Samoei Ruto, I don't see how William Samoei Ruto would win. So, the only thing that we need, is what I call the common front. Among us, the team that we saw today at the Martha Karua launch, if that team can agree on one candidate, Martha Karua, Rigathi Gachagua, Kalonzo Musyoka, Matiang'i, Eugene Wamalwa, if they can agree on one candidate, minus Raila Odinga, then we are set to send Kasongo home. So the only challenge we have, politicians are very selfish animals. I don't know whether how they are going to stick on their word that they will support one candidate. That's where the word is, because you say today that you support whoever will be chosen, then come tomorrow, because you have not been chosen, you decide you say you want to run on your own. That's the only challenge that you have. But if we can get one candidate, the way we got Mwai Kibaki in 2002, then we'll be set to go. Remember, in 2002 we had Kibaki as the common front candidate. Then we had Simon Nyachae, who ran alone. Then we had Uhuru Kenyatta, who was being fronted by Mzee, the late Mzee Daniel Toroitich arap Moi. But despite Simon Nyachae coming in between, the strongness of Mwai Kibaki as a strong candidate for the common front, made him win, and he won with a big margin that it was impossible for Daniel Toroitich arap Moi to interfere with the numbers, to interfere with the votes, and that's where we want to go. We are going to treat Raila Odinga the way we treated Simon Nyachae in 2002. We'll call him Simon Nyachae of 2027, because his numbers are not going to make us lose anything. And so long as the team that was, as the Martha Karua launch, stand together and they agree on one common candidate, even if that candidate will be Morara, then and they bring it to the people of Kenya. Let me tell you, the people of Kenya will vote for this one candidate en masse, and that candidate will become the president of the Republic of Kenya. So perhaps let me just stop there.
Okay. Let me try to comment on Gerard. You've said you are coming from Busia. I'm also a man from Busia, and I personally think this now that we have, like, let's say we have Morara Kebaso, we have Kalonzo Musyoka, we have Fred Matiang'i, we will probably have Wamunyoro, we have the man himself, Mr. Kaongo, we will have Raila Odinga on the ballot. Martha Karua, she said that he does not want to be the running mate anymore. She will stand for the presidential seat. We've seen Matiang'i. Like, we have like 10 candidates. And these 10 candidates, we cannot have in the presidential candidate position with 10 candidates. We only need a few candidates, and nominating a common candidate will be the hardest decisions these people are going to make. Why am I saying this? Because these people themselves, right now, they all want to be leaders. Yeah. Despite the fact that they are like they want to remove Kasongo from that seat, they also want to be leaders. We've seen today Morara Kebaso saying, if I fail for the presidential seat, give me the ESCC position, I deal with the corruption. These people, they want to be leaders. Their main dream is to be leaders. But my question is, are they going to be good leaders? What makes them different from Kasongo? What is their track record? What is their political experience? What is their political background? We must look into the cases they had before we vote for them, because there are too many. We need to have a track record. Like, let's say this is Fred Matiang'i. What is Fred Matiang'i's achievement? He was the Minister of Education one day. He was the Minister of Interior. That can be achievement. How well did he do that work so that he can take that experience to the presidential seat? Yeah, we must note that down. And then we come again with another strategy. We have another candidate called Morara Kebaso. We've seen Morara Kebaso's Vampire Diaries. Will he take these Vampire Diaries to the presidential seat? Will he do the Lord's work of injecting the way he's injecting right now? Or does he just want us to elect him as the president? Then he can just go there and do nothing. We need to come again to a candidate like Kalonzo. We see Kalonzo in Moi's regime, he was the Minister of Environment, he was the Minister of so and so, he did this and this, he was the Secretary of KANU, he was, what are the achievements? We must see the political experience they have in this political seat. Before we just elect any leader, we must confirm indeed this is the good leader we want. Because in 2022, we really messed up by voting for Mr. Kaongo. Now that if that man could have failed, some of us will still be here crying, oh, we rejected the right man and we chose the wrong person. Like the way we are crying right now, we voted the wrong person and we rejected the right man. So for something like that not to happen again in 2027, we need to endorse all these leaders that want the presidential seat. Yeah, we need to take them on a petition. Ask them in what is your achievement? What are your political experience? What are you bringing to the table? What will make you a different leader from Mr. Kasongo? What are you offering Kenyans? Will you again come with another scheme like SHA? Will you force Kenyans into unnecessary bills like so and so did? No, we need to endorse all these leaders, and then we must say, now that you are 10, we have to reduce the number to 5. After we've reduced the number to 5, we reduce it again to 3, so that that seat can only have 3 candidates. If we do that,
Okay.
I think when we have 3 candidates, I think...
Let me just say one thing.
Okay, just
Just one thing, because I
Angira, we wanted to respond
let
to
me
you
comment.
before.
Yeah, let at least okay. Is it early or it's good at
But
least
Gen Z, you are
to take
so
the
low.
forum?
We've been complaining since you started Gen Z Messiah, that we
Okay.
can't
Can
hear
you
you. You are talking so low.
hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Maybe it's me, but let the people in the panel tell
Yes,
her,
yes,
is
yes.
she really speaking tunamsikia kweli? Because when I was on the comment section, I could hear her from very far away.
Okay, mnanisikia sasa hivi?
Unasikika sasa at least.
Okay. What you've said that, oh, we get a common candidate, one leader and back him up. Yes, we will get that leader. But do we have a system of free and fair elections? Do we really have justice in Kenya? Because once someone wants to become a dictator or a tyrant in a country, they make sure that in charge of all the resources of the country, they put all their people in charge. So that to make sure that all decisions that are made are based on their team. So my biggest contribution to this debate can be, it is only us Kenyans, not even depending on a politician to back up a politician in order to get what we want. It is us Kenyans. In the 18th century, there was a dictator in France. He was called Louis Marie. In order to get Louis Marie out of that seat, he was a dictator, I tell you, a dictator. Leave alone our Kasongo over here. But the French Revolution happened in the 18th century that threw out Louis Marie Antoinette. So my suggestion is that backing up a person isn't a problem, but it is us Kenyans now to wake up. It is us to wake up and make a revolution. If the middle class people can team up with the lower class people, it will be better, because it is the lower class people who always cry for the plight of the normal mwananchi, and the middle class, they are just there, they're just us, as long as we are okay with everything. But if different levels of the society come together, back up each other, and go against this bad system, it will be the best choice. Looking for one leader and to back him up might not finish all our problems, because that leader maybe has their own interests. Because as Clean Flicks has said, that all that people want here is leadership. So I suggest that if as Kenyans we go against, even if Ruto aende all parts of Kenya akiongea, kama he started from Western, going greeting people in Luya, Musangarire, Murivanamu, if people decide in every region that akikuja hakuna mtu kwenda meeting yake, because you see Kenyans surrounding gari ya Kasongo bado wanamsikiza, why are they even still listening to this person? Kwani hawamjui? Literally hakuna mtu hajajua what Ruto is doing now, bado wanaenda kusimama kando wakimsikiliza. Inafaa every county akienda, people just concentrate on their own business, waona hata like hakuna mtu akona haja na yeye, and all people should team up, all levels of the society, and make sure that they gang up against Ruto and tell them, no, we can't continue doing this. So in order to change Kenya, I think it is as wananchi to change Kenya. Finding a person to back up, I don't think it will assist a lot, because they'll come and tell you, I'm one of you. Mimi ni hustler kama nyinyi, nilelewa middle class. Because politicians will always tell you what you want to hear. They'll always tell you what you want to hear, and they'll always pretend to be one of you, so that to get what they want. They have their own interests. Thank you. It is good, and Ellie, you are welcome. You can unmute your mic.
No, I wanted to say the debate. I wanted to tell the young man that was here. Yeah, he has come. The debate about the person is very premature. Very, very premature. We
Thank
should
you.
not even think about that. You
Thank
are already using all your bullets, and you're being left with only the gun by the time you get to the election. We should not even tolerate a discussion of one person. Now, the question is, and still remains to me, because I'm laughing, that we are happy with the purple color. Has history not taught you that that's what's been going on Western for a very long time? Mudavadi versus Wetangula. If Gachagua has been saying, we are consulting and we will come at as one people, why are we rebranding one party? Are we not telling Kenyans that, look, the mountain is still going to have many parties? Whether you rebrand it, whether you change names, whatever you do, the common corporate Kenyan narrative is very simple. You leaders, we have given you time to come together, not on your terms, on our terms. We are giving you time to come together. When you come together, we will decide which vehicle And when we decide on which vehicle, we will decide which candidate. We are running the narrative. So my young friend here saying clean flicks, that they tell us on which, they are not going to tell us. We have surpassed that time. We surpassed that time. And that politics is not going to be part and parcel of the politics. Now, again, you see, what you don't know is Kasongo is ahead of us. Whether you call him Kaongo, Kasongo, whatever, what we have already done indiscriminately, all of us, without thinking, is we have already legitimized the guy. It has been Kasongo must go. Now, it's no longer Kasongo must go. We want to meet with you on the ballot, which means from now to 2027, Kasongo is very safe. We have already said Kasongo is not going anywhere. We have given up, and now we are saying the only thing, we are ready to meet you on the ballot box. Is that why you went to the streets? So you have to know that Kasongo is being legitimized, and Kasongo will play games with you, and Kasongo will win because of the narratives that we are playing. We must understand, if today all these leaders met, I thought they could have, all of them said, look, the issue of a candidate is no matter. All of us dismantle the parties. We need one formation. Once they do that, and then they state, we are agitating for our institutions to be respected and to be strengthened. In so doing, if they have already given up from now to 2027, by the time we get to 2027, the one they are looking for the price to remove Kasongo, they will have the IEBC that will be able to take Kasongo out. So it is not rebranding, it is not changing of names, it is not all this that they are showing us that will get Kasongo out. They are failing on the core issue, that the reason we've been having bad leadership is everybody comes up thinking that they are better. So the rebranding today was showing us that I can do better. No, we don't want a better person right now. We wanted a united front, a total united front. The way Wangira said earlier, that united front in 2002 made it impossible even for the sitting president for 24 years to steal election. It was impossible for the man to steal election. Why? That united front made sure that everywhere there was a win in the 8 provinces. And in the 8 provinces, there were members of parliament that could represent this one man in parliament. And that's how that man became a president. Now, if we continue talking about a candidate right now, if there is an issue that divides Kenyans more than unites them, start talking about a candidate. By next week, we will not even be excited about anything. We have no issue of a candidate who will run this country. All of them are qualified. All of them are qualified. Trust me. Even if you take a dog today to run against Kasongo, it will win. You know that. That's no lie. No, hold on, you had your time. Hold on, you had your time. You listen, you finish, and then you. So what we will do is, if we will be patient and make sure that these people run on our narrative, not a political, not on their narrative. We set the agenda, we set the narrative, we tell them, if you are not united as a people, the mounted be united, the people from Western be united, and let's come together first. And as a common front, we will decide if it's Matiang'i, if it's Maraga, if it's Kebaso, if it's Raila, if it's whichever candidate that the people at that particular time will decide. But then, why are you giving up to 2027 Why are you giving up to 2027 and saying we are going to run to a man who is already running every institution, who knows how to become a president, who wants again to take even the judiciary out? How are you going to run to with a man who already has captured the state? Those are the things they could have spoken and told us we must fight for these things for us to have a free and fair election. What they did today, they did not tackle the core issues. They even divided us further. We don't need rebranding of parties. We don't need change of parties. We don't need new colors. We need seriousness in the political front so that we can see where we are headed. Otherwise, we are repeating the same mistake and legitimizing Kasongo. We are telling him we have given up from 2025 to 2027. You are the president. We respect you. We're only going to meet with you in the ballot. Meanwhile, the constitution allows the man to pick anybody he wants for his election, including the IEBC. You sure we want to go to an election with Kasongo's IEBC? No. So those are the things that we should be talking and preempting. So before Kinflix, you reply me, let's allow Eli also to speak and then we respond to all of us.
Yeah.
Eli to speak. Eli, welcome.
Thank you. Gen Z's panel here, or is it Njiru's or whoever was presiding over this when you started, and Alex and Clemfix. My stress was to see the kind of speech, interview responses by Mr. Kimani Chungwa on Al Jazeera, and I can link this to this conversation that we're having. There was a guy also from London, Moses Langat, who claims to be a leader of Kenyan diaspora in the UK, and he defended William Ruto in all ways possible. This guy is meant to be a scientist who is quite influential, works in Kew Gardens, and has a lot of respect in the job that he does. Mr. Moses Lagat really let down the Kenyan diaspora in the UK. It was quite shameful to hear a man who claims that Ruto is not politician, is a leader, and that everything is being accused of is just a marriage. That audience that sat there listening to Ichungwa and Moses Lagat, they were laughing because even the journalist who was interviewing them, decided this is just some kind of a Kenyan comedy. It was just ridiculous. But we have this problem with the Kenyans in the diaspora who pretend to be the representatives of Kenyans abroad, and that they know mostly what they're talking about, and they can't wait to sit in a panel on mainstream media and so on. Most of these people are just, opportunists. They will now put that on their CV that he was in Al Jazeera, but he'll replay back what he said on that show. It was really ridiculous. I did a background check on Moses Langat, and I decided not to repeat not to repeat it here, because I might end up in a courtroom trying to defend myself. But the second point I wanted to make is I have had a lot of people complaining about Raila Odinga that Raila is a conman. He has let people down, and I haven't had them talk about corruption. You know, in the past few elections, you've had people talking about the molasses plant in Kisumu, and they've also mentioned things about Raila's wealth, and especially in connection with the Congo. And in terms of government resources and public funds, I'm still yet to hear a direct, you know, element of thievery by Mr. Odinga, which will be interesting because that way then I can clearly say that he is way up there with the likes of Gachagua and Ruto in the corruption index. I'm not here to defend Raila Odinga, but I would like to know why people think it's okay to say that he has conned the Kenyan people. In comparison to who? Either in the opposing sides, you know, in comparison to who? Or historically, in comparison to who? You know, it's easy because he's a punchbag. To some people, he's even a bogeyman, you know, that they must use in every way possible to accuse. I mean, if that man decides to jump in with Ruto and support Ruto, that's none of our business. If he decides to stay with Gachagua, it's none of our business. If he wants to go to Bondo and relax himself, it's none of our business, you know? But I think that sometimes we forget that removing William Ruto is nothing to do with Raila Odinga. Those are two things that are separate. You know, you don't need to, you know, to come on social media to claim that Raila will somehow help you to remove William Ruto. How? The man has captured everything. And now you think that Raila Odinga is the one that will help, that he conned Kenyans, so he would have helped us to fix things. How? You know, sometimes I just wonder. I think the youth generation and how they were composed and how they were, you know, consistent in trying to dismantle Ruto's government, they would have done it, you know. But even Raila himself would not have had any power to change all that. Those people used their power, you know, they used their weapons against the young people. How was Mr. Odinga going to stop that? I've always asked myself this question. So if we use one person to compare, you know, to try and see how things can change, this is the same mistake we did with Jomo Kenyatta, as if Jomo Kenyatta is the one who was the sole leader of the movement for independence. And that, I think, is the same thing we're doing now. We're using this one person and we're making him a lion for what? You see, we need to stop blaming this one person and now have a clear thinking, you know, movement. You know, what people are saying here, for example, is what Kibaki and his team did in 2002. That was the clearest way of winning against a dictatorship that, you know, continued for 24 years. There's something like that people should be concentrating on. But this backpedaling about Raila Odinga, he's in Dubai, I don't know, it's wasting of time. The third point I wanted to make about that is I feel that Mr. Odinga, if we have to talk about him at all as part of the problem, I feel that he is not the only issue around him, is the people who advise him. They are mostly to blame for the approach that this man makes in big decisions. Very dangerous people, They have nothing ever to want, in terms of Kenya's progress or change from the status quo. You guys know who these people are. We shouldn't pretend we don't know them. They are the problem. They, in fact, a bigger problem than Mr. Odinga himself. So I don't have this particular issue with Raila Odinga that most people have, because I don't think that, complaining about him will help us in any way. We should stop complaining about this 80-year-old man. Let him do his thing. If he wants to be with Ruto, that's his problem. If we already know that that will shortchange Ruto and his regime in 2027 in terms of landslide victories or whatever, we know this thing. So we shouldn't even waste our time speaking about Mr. Odinga, because I think it's just a waste of time. My last point is the fourth point, is about, again, some people, breaching constitutional powers. So Kimani Ichung'wah, he has threatened before which people will leave government, which people will be sacked, and why, and he will pursue that. He's a majority leader, supposed majority leader of Kenya Kwanza. And I listened to him on Al Jazeera talking about Justin Muturi is on his way out. I mean, this man, he is not the appointing authority of Justin Muturi. I mean, I can't remember any majority leader in the last few years who would have spoken the way Kimani Ichung'wah does. It's quite shocking, because where is it? Where is he in the constitution in terms of separation of powers of parliament and the executive? For him to be able to speak like that at the Rani in international platform, So I think that anyway, the Kenya Kwanza regime is not going to last too long. So I'll not be surprised if Kimani Ichung'wah is actually exiting this regime before the people that he wants to leave the regime. He said some things that were quite shocking about the young people, and he was actually laughing while saying those things. I mean, the man has no shame. So I think that what energy people have now to change the country should continue, but we should think about, not even now. I mean, I'm not interested to hear about 2027. It's not a priority. If you're going to talk about the economy, I will listen. But 2027 for me is not a priority. But I can see that a lot of people, it's very important. That's how humans are. We can't be the same. If we are all the same, this planet will be very boring. Thank you.
We can now have Intifada. Intifada, welcome. Unmute your mic. Intifada. Hello.
Is it?
Talk to
That's
us.
Kenya Rebel.
Oh, I can't hear Gen Z Messiah. I don't know if Ellie, you can hear her.
Yeah, I can hear her, but her sound is very low. But I can just hear a little bit of
Okay.
what
Alright.
she's saying.
Okay,
Yes.
Intifada, welcome.
Okay, then let me make my submission really quick. I'm glad that tribalist coward left here. He needs to he needs to debate with Oscar Sudi. That's his level. But anyway, let's get to the matter. Martha Karua. Let me start with Martha Karua. Oh my goodness, she branded her her party now it's purple. And I saw her at Jeff Koinange's program. I couldn't watch the whole thing. I mean, that's how nauseating listening to her is. But she said something that was startling. She said, Ruto is my brother. Rigiji is my brother. Raila is my brother. I was done. I was done. I was done. I was done. Done. When it is saying that. But I've been saying this. It's silly to say that you want to remove Ruto and you have no proper alternative. I've been saying this. The problem is not Ruto. Ruto is the symptom of the problem. The system is what produces people like Ruto, Uhuru, Raila. You can remove Ruto and put Martha Karua there tomorrow. You will still have corruption, abduction, and every stuff that's going on because they know they can get away with it in this current system, that corrupt system that we exist in. That's why I partly agree with Eli when he said, you know, there's some people who have an agenda. They talk about Raila Odinga, oh, he's a con man, all this is. I mean, I've been saying that for the past, I don't know how long. It's kind of old. But again, Raila is not the only problem in Kenya. He's another symptom of the system, of problem. So coming here telling us how Raila betrayed people, and I made that point. I said this during the Gen Z movement. I said, there's no way Raila Odinga, one person, can stop a whole organic grassroots revolutionary movement. If he could do that, then that means he had the influence. He influenced what was going on in that maandamano. One person cannot just go meet Ruto alafu mseme ati oh ametuharibia nini. No, if it was about removing all the clearing the system, Raila, Ruto na wengine wao wangetolewa pamoja. So again, I agree when people say, you know, it's silly to say Raila Odinga betrayed they betrayed the movement. He betrayed it in the sense that he pretended to be siding with the Gen Zs, then he joined in with the handshake when he said he was not going to negotiate with Ruto. So yes, in that sense, yes. But if this was a popular revolution to remove Ruto and the whole regime and the legislative body, you can't blame one person, Raila Odinga. That's silly. But again, I've realized that a lot of people have their own tribal prejudice that they're hiding in them, but they want to take it out by pretending that, oh, we've been betrayed. Oh, we've been this. The more I analyzing these people come here and say, oh, Raila this, Raila that, the more I realize that these are the very people who are contributing in this corrupt system. Now you talk about all this, ati wakina Martha Karua, what's a nonsensical, Martha Karua, who has, kuna MP yoyote kutoka PLP, that purple party that he has. First of all, purple is a gay color, okay? Only Batman wears purple, okay? But that's besides the point. I'm just saying, do you think if you put Wamunyoro today, Gachagua, to be the president of Kenya, you will get change? I like what Eric asked. He said 6 months ago, Gachagua was the very person who was waking up early to get the forces to deal with Gen Z. 6 months later, now Gachagua is the person who ati yasherekea ringati yendi anachapa yendi amejua kudeal na Ruto. Let me be the bearer of bad news today, Kenya. If we don't have a popular revolution, Ruto is going to be the president in 2027. He's going to rig himself, and after that, mtaenda vita, and after vita, Martha Karua, Matiang'i, Raila, and all these useful idiots who you call the political elites shall be part of his cabinet as the grand coalition government. This is what's going to happen. Ruto is going to win 2027. Mupende musipende. I'm telling you this, whether you like it or not. Thank you.
Okay.
Clean flicks?
We, mambo ni mengi, maswali tutatafuta. So intifada, hey, He's very firm to say that Ruto indeed will win the 2027 election. Actually, that is always what I always tell people, because if we want this man out, but why? How are we going to get this man out? Another thing is, okay, we want this man out. Whom are we going to put in that seat? Who will be more better than this man? What are we getting ourselves into? In 2027, will we jump out of the frying pan to the fire? That is why I always say there is no an angel in politics. All these leaders, when they get that seat, that is all they want to have. And when they get that seat, they change. Therefore, there must be someone who must be very different from all these previous leaders. We've seen, like, let's say the elections of 2007, 2008, they gave Raila the position of the prime minister to cool him down. Yeah, past the 2008, 2007, 2008 post-election violence, the 2007, 2008, they gave Raila Odinga the prime minister so that the whole Kenyan can just cool down. Will that history repeat itself coming 2027? Because indeed, if we don't do something, if these leaders that are vying for this candidature seat, if they are not strategic enough, because right now, what they need is not just endorsing themselves for that presidential seat. They need a strategy. They need a good plan. They need to outshine Ruto, because Ruto right now is inside the government. Ruto is strategically planning on how he will rig the elections coming 2027. And that he knows very best, because he is the one to go and sit with the IEBC commissioners. He is the one that will run the funds that are going to surpass that those elections. Like, he's inside the government. He knows the loopholes. He knows the portals. He knows how he can fix the elections coming 2027. And if he knows and has that all knowledge, indeed, he can. And probably he will win the 2027 elections. So these Wamunyoro people, these Kinafred Matiang'i, these Kalonzo, they all need a strategy. They need a plan, not just saying that I will vie for the presidential seat. And they must also give us a different manifesto, not just the manifesto that we've been hearing since we were born, the year 2000 up to now. Every leader coming to us telling us we'll build roads, we'll bring hospitals, we'll bring proper education. And when they go there, they do nothing. They just swindle public fund, they misuse public fund, they do not allocate funds to the public, they force Kenyans into unnecessary bills. So if these candidates are going to vie for that seat, all of them, they need a strategy, they need a plan, not just telling Kenyans that, okay, I've just sat down and decided I will vie for the presidential seat. Don't tell us that. We don't want to hear that. We want to hear, you've decided you will be the president coming 2027. What will make you different from the person that is leading us right now? We want a different president. We want a different regime. But how are you going to bring that different regime? And how will it benefit Kenyans? Because nowadays, if someone vies for the members of parliament seat, or let's say the senator's seat, or the governor's seat, or the president's seat, they first of all benefit themselves before they benefit Kenyans. They put their own interests first. Wanajaza mifuko yao kwanza. These people are developing generational wealth. We've seen the Al Jazeera interview. Kimanongo is telling the Al Jazeera, my net worth is around 1 billion. And he's relaxed. Like 1 billion is nothing. He's just speaking like, okay, my net worth is 1 billion. What will you do? Where is that 1 billion coming from?
In fact, he was laughing at $7 million.
He was laughing. Where is that 1 billion coming from?
I didn't think the interviewer was, the interviewer usually, he gives like a hard talk to his interviewees. And I think today, in that Al Jazeera, he was very soft.
Very arrogant, in fact. Very arrogant.
And he was just referring to that interview was poorly researched, because he was telling Kimani Chungwa, I got this information from the Mzalendo website, and he could have just asked Irungu Houghton, to update him about what exactly is happening to Kenya. The Irungu who works for Amnesty International, who was in the panel. I was a bit stunned, because that interviewer, that journalist, is usually one of the best, of his kind that you can meet. But he made he was very soft on Kimani Ichung'wah, because the things Kimani Ichung'wah said, I mean, they were very, very shallow. He did not say the things that people really want to hear, exactly what is happening.
He could have pressured him. But again, if you see how Kimani Ichung'wah was relaxed with the $1 billion net worth, you see a member of parliament in Kenya is being paid 1,120,000 and something. Yeah, you cannot tell me that you have just developed 1 billion net worth the moment you just arrived in parliament. Yeah, you've just arrived in parliament right now. You are the member of parliament, which means that 1 billion is coming from that seat. You are being bribed to pass bills. We've seen how he's defending that man, Mr. Kasongo. We've seen he's telling the interviewers how the Gen Zs were abducting themselves and hiding themselves into Airbnb and demanding for... What nonsense is that, by the way? Are these the kind of leaders we elected to go and represent us on a national level? He could have even chose someone very sensible. Choosing someone like Kimani Ichung'wah to intervene, that is a very bad figure to the public.
But you remember, he also said that he doesn't really care what people say on social media or on these new media platforms. He does not care, and that is just symptomatic of all the political class in Kenya. They don't care what people say on YouTube or these conversations about change. They don't really care. So he was just carrying as the sample of what is already happening. So that's why I said, and I'll keep repeating every single day, that the trade union movement in Kenya has to be awakened. Kenyans must start thinking how they can be a little bit more creative about the trade union movement. We know that Atwoli is on his last term, which I think it's 2026. He has to go, and in that election of the new officials of KOTU and other trade unions, people should start now, thinking how they can take leadership in those trade unions, especially young people. But for example, clinics, I don't know where you are. And if you are not in Kenya, sorry, where are you exactly?
I'm in Nairobi, Kenya.
Now, okay, you're in an advantaged position. Being in Nairobi, I am sure you know people who have leadership credentials in trade unions that they can join and they can cause change from the low levels to the mid level and whatever. Why don't you mobilize, take advantage of your own platform, take advantage of it and invite a member of a trade union, an official, and trigger that and see how they will talk, how this can then be spread on social media. It's shared and people speak about what is happening, for example, within KOTU. Because as I've said before, if Atwoli, let's say Atwoli, just him, was able to tell people to down their tools for 2, 3, 4, 5 days, do you think that Ruto will still be there running the country? So it is just one of those simple things that can be done. But even if it doesn't happen immediately, those trade union issues need to start now. Honestly, I was so embarrassed when I saw ODM and Azimio running around with Atwoli during the campaigns. Complete rubbish, So if you have any influence, small or big, on this particular issue of trade unions, please, I think you should really, really try and mobilize people to join the trade union movement, to shake these trade union movements. It's not late. And if young people start joining trade unions and demanding seats, those they will be shocked, because most of those trade unions are either led by very old people, mostly men, or people in their late 50s and so on. Wewe wacha usikia ati watu wameanza kujoin sijui ati wanataka kunini kushake ma trade unions hapo, people in their 20s, 30s. It can trigger a faster change than what we hear and see at the moment. Saizi we're relying on rallies. Easy rallies are town rallies, sijui rallies kwa funerals, sijui nini, mtu anakuambia ati sijui Ruto amefanya hii, Ruto pia anamjibu sijui kwa rally nyingine huku, and that's the only political participation saizi. Si tunataka kitu ifanyike kule kwa level ya trade union.
Yeah.
And to join a trade union is not a bad thing, but if it costs money that the worker cannot afford, and if it costs money to be a leader in a trade union, Kenyans can still infiltrate those trade unions. There are those people in those trade unions who already want change, okay? But Kenyans should be able to invite them to these forums to speak as trade union members. Nakwambia, it's a good perspective that we should try. Ama unaonaje, Clinton?
Okay, actually, it is a very good thing to try, especially because these positions are being led by old people, and these old people are just carrying the mentality of pre-colonialism, modern colonialism into those positions. They are leading us with colonial minds. They don't want to consider the new modern minds. But again, if you look at the matter closely, these leaders are all on social media. If we young people, we try and mobilize such panels, they are just on social media. How do they know that we are doing these things? Because they are all on social media. They are not doing any meaningful work. They're just perusing around their phones, seeing this Gen Z has posted some memes. This have put the president in the casket, let's go and abduct him. That we are at risk. We know some of us, we have platforms, very powerful platforms that we can really mobilize and do a very great impact in the society. But some of us, we are being silenced. Why? Because we are afraid of these same old people who have power. They know people. We the young people, tunajua kina nani. Tunajua nani. For you to get a position in the government or a top position right now in this regime of ours, you need to know someone. And that someone must know someone who knows another someone. So we the young people, of course we have impact. But tunajua nani. We don't know them. We don't know this. We don't have connections, in short. You see, like some of us, we have skills. Yeah? We have skills. We have laptops. We've installed Wi-Fi. But we just sit there with our skills because the government only offers jobs to those who have the same money. They offer jobs to the people they know. If you are coming from a poor background, you have this mentality that I'll go and vie for a seat in the government, then you will be shocked because the first thing they will ask you, it's like an interview. Unajua nani? Who do you know? And that thing is a thing that is killing us. Coming off this trade union thing, I think someone like Atuoli is too old enough. He should just go home because right now we need young. Yes. Yeah.
Why can't you get
Yes,
an
sir.
interview with that? Why can't you get an interview with Atuoli? Why can't you invite him to speak to you on your podcast? if it is difficult to get Atwoli onto your podcast, why can't you get trade union officials, 2 or 3, who are easier to approach, and advise them, this is what we want you to do, to tell us what is going on in the trade union movement, why is it slow, has it been captured, how can things change? Don't wait for someone to do this for you. It has not been done by any Kenyan in the last 10, 15 years. There's only mainstream media that invite a trade union official, and the only one that they invite is the one that monopolizes that movement, and that's Atwoli. They call him for a laugh, Kina Jeff Koinange, So why can't you start this off? And I'm sorry to put you on the spot, because you seem to be a good guy who knows what he is talking about, okay? And I know you said that young people will be targeted when they post certain things on the new media, right? But here you are trying to invite or mobilize the trade union movement by inviting an official or officials. What is the problem? Nobody needs money to do that. Bro, you don't need money to do that. You can even go with your mobile phone to interview him.
The only challenge we are facing as young people, right now, if you decide to do something like that, of course you can. But let me ask you, do you think a politician, someone that is earning millions, can stand there and sit and listen to a Gen Z youth that earns nothing? There's a different political class there. These people, they will be like, what do you have to offer? You want me to offer you an interview? What do you have to offer to me? Like, he will be like, you're just wasting my time, I think they respect these big media companies because they know they are able to offer something, like they can fuel their cars. Like me personally, you will ask me, what do you have to offer? Why should I give you my time? Why should you interview me? I am top there. My generation, my family has wealth. What do you have to offer? That is what they will ask. Will our time be worth it? Will be their time benefit us? That is all they will do. They just don't care about us anymore. They care about anywhere that brings, or anything or any activities that gives them money. That is all what they care about. If you tell them, come, I interview you, I have 1 million to offer, trust me, they are the one to find you. But you, what do you have to offer? Like me, what do I have to offer to someone like Atwoli so that I can interview him? Nothing. So he'll probably don't listen to me. He will think that I'm insane or not educated enough to this
Clean
level.
fix. No, clean fix. That's part of the problem we have. That thing that you're calling someone like Atwoli being some kind of wealthy man, full of mystery, that is what we need to demystify. To approach this person, and if it fails, there are so many other trade union officials. They don't have to be high profile. You can start from somewhere. You don't have to have like the latest cameras. Just go with your phone, and you give these people time, and you invite them. You say, look, can I meet you next week or something? I would like us to talk about the trade union movement and the status quo in Kenya. How can we change things? Before you know it, your interview will be full of things that we've never heard about that's happening. Even we know generally what's happening to workers, but trade union officials will tell you more things that we intimately don't know. So, many countries have tried to change, and they've successfully done so through trade union movement. So I am telling you, right, because you have an articulate way of presenting yourself. You're not using like bombastic big words, gee, what. You're very, very clear, easy to understand, and I think that you could do some good interview with a trade union official. I am telling you, try it. Don't wait for someone to do it, because people will do it. And if they run away with it, that's fine, because Kenyans are known to be very competitive people. So, well, let's make the trade union people a class then, because once we have managed to interview them, or once we've managed to get them to speak to Kenyans, there will be a new type of people in the Kenyan landscape, in the Kenyan political landscape. People now start taking them seriously. You know, us out here in abroad, I can interview so many trade union officials if I wanted, but I will not be as authentic as a person who is in Nairobi or Kitale or Mombasa. I'm telling you, you are more authentic than the people who are abroad in terms of such messages being scattered across to people who can influence change in Kenya. I feel that I'm obsessed with this issue of the trade union movement, but I feel that right now, this is one of the things that we can use to break this capture of, because even the trade union movement has been captured long time ago, way before Ruto, way before Uhuru Kenyatta. So that's just one of the reasons to bring them out in the new media so that people can see exactly what is happening. And you will then find that some trade union official along the line of these interviews, one or two, will break the cycle, will say, now we're ready. We're ready to remove Atwoli, because we see is the significant problem. We can say that this can happen before May the 1st, this May Day of 2025. And me have nothing personal against Atwoli. I'm just saying that this person is just as bad as Ruto. Can you imagine? He's one of those people who supported Ruto after the June 25th last year, as if nothing happened. Thank you.
Wacha niongeze kitu sijui kama Clean Fix unanisikia vizuri na Eli. Can you hear me? Yeah, you know, hii discussion ya Atwoli mimi sijui Atwoli I think Atwoli is a octogenarian who needs to get away, because I think ametumika na watu wengi sana to actually jeopardize the justice system in Kenya and the political system in Kenya. Saa zingine mimi najiulizanga bwana Eli, huyu jamaa yako Atwoli, is it a workers movement, or is it a political organization, or is it a political party? Sijaielewa. Mara sijui tukate miti hadi sasa nashindwa history ya kukata miti. How was it to do it peacefully? You see, the problem which we are having, Atwoli has abandoned the cause and the constitution of Kotu, and he has decided to become a political pawn, let me call it that way, to be misused by anyone, to the extent that he has stayed there for over 40 years. Nilisikia the other time akisema aliingia Kotu Ruto akiwa na miaka 2. Sijui kama unakumbuka hiyo story, alikuwa anasema aliingia Kotu Ruto akiwa na miaka 2. So what do I mean? What I mean is that in Kenya we need a revolution of so many institutions. It is unfortunate. Like we needed a shake-up of everything. So because things are not working, even history tunasema young people cannot get jobs. There's no way in which young people will get jobs with this type of people. Mtu kama Atwoli is thinking is Neanderthal thinking. Atwoli hata ukimwambia story ya ati vijana wadogo hawana pesa, wamesoma, he cannot understand that.
Njiru, kuna kelele hapo kwa background, sijui ni kwako ama.
Oh, yeah, I could be having some noise, but okay, ni sawa. Maybe wacha nikuje baadaye. I'm in a hall. It's okay if I'm not audible clear, nitakuja baadaye kidogo.
No, tunakusikia tu, lakini kuna tu watu vivyo wanaongea, tunakusikia vizuri sana. Endelea.
Anyway, it's unfortunate hao wanaongea, siwezi wanyamazisha waongee for now. Wanaongea mambo yao. Nataki kubadilisha environment saa hii. So Bwana Eli, what I was
Njeru, nilikuwa nataka kukuuliza Njeru. Tukisema hivi huyu Atwoli we already know is not representing the workers. The first question of change of institutions like Kotu is, if he's not representing the workers, then why is he there? This guy can be removed even before Labor Day or 1st of May. So while we want to remove Ruto, why can't we remove Atwoli and every other person that we need to change the system? That's the way we're going to the hiyo revolution itakuwa hivi. Mnatoa watu piece by piece kwa kila mahali. Ama unaonaje?
Okay, sawa. Nimekusikia Bwana Eli. Unajua bwana, hiyo ni ile kitu tunaitanga capture. Kuna kitu inaitangwa capture system. Huyu jamaa alisha capture hiyo institution kitambo. Hata yule jamaa anakuja, hata tukitoa Atwoli, his bones will still be there. Huyo jamaa, I think the amount of watu wote ambao wameingia Kotu ni yeye. I think Atwoli will disturb us for the next 50 years. Sababu hata wale wako hapo ni wake.
Mimi kitu tunajua vile Clintrix amesema ati mayouth wanaogopa hao wazee sijui nini. Mtu kama Atwoli, actually hiyo kuogopa kwako nani Clintrix, I can believe it in terms of huyu mtu anaweza kukuua. By the way, unajua hiyo story ya ule deputy wake? You know, that's a live story. In fact, iko kwa koti saizi. So hapo ninakuelewa, lakini tukiogopa tu ati sijui that is what will happen, hapana. Hata yule daktari yule sijui anaitwaje yule, alikuwa some guy Njiru, the guy who was fronting the trade union movement in the health industry in Kenya. Huyo jamaa alikuwa anaitwaje? About 2 years ago. Unamkumbuka?
Hebu nikumbuke jamaa.
This young fellow, I think he was given some government position. He was Secretary General of doctors, nurses, nini. He was always on the news. Wakamcapture hata huyo.
Nimekumbuka huyo jamaa. Na siku hizi ni CEO. Alipelekwa Nairobi.
Sorry, Jenzi anasema kitu hapo, pengine anamjua.
Is it Seth Panyako?
Hapana, si huyo, si Seth Panyako, no. Kuna mwingine Yanga. Is a younger fellow.
Na ako Nairobi siku hizi. Ako kama CEO wa health.
Ni Mjaka. So huyo jamaa, it was like one of those guys you think, hey, sasa trade union imekuja, sasa so this one we can listen to. Huyo akachukuliwa, amekuwa captured kitambo na Ruto. Or Uhuru, I don't know, one of those two people.
And you need to know that Ruto is very good in capturing. Ruto is very good in capturing. You need to know he is a student of capturing.
Yeah, he's a very good hunter.
Unasikia tu akisema, hebu nikwambie, unasikia Ruto anasema hivi, hiyo maneno tutafanya namna hii.
Anasema nimeongea na ndugu yangu huyu, kesho nitakuwa niwachie huyu. You see, Atwoli, mimi personally I think hii story ya Atwoli na mambo ya labor anafaa baki tu na hiyo part ya workers, si akuje tena kuanza kuunga government mkono, kwa sababu yeye ndiye alikuwa anatuambia mkate miti kwa sababu huyo kijana atajinyonga. And then 2 years tunaona tena shenzi sana, kumbavu. What are you saying bwana? What are you saying? Na yeye ndiye alikuwa anatuambia I prevented Ruto from stealing. Sasa saizi they are stealing with him. You see? Now, these are the kind of leaders who we just need to get them out of that office. Kwa sababu wewe ukituambia kata miti vijana huyu kijana atajinyonga, alafu miaka 2 kijana mwenye ulikuwa unasema atajinyonga, unakuja tena unajiunga na yeye, unatuambia you will prevent Ruto from stealing, alafu miaka 2 baadaye unaiba sasa na yeye. What is that? Instead of focusing for the right of the workers, you should just stick there, not yeye hata sijuzi ndiye ameanzisha hii maneno ati Gen Zs they are abducting themselves na kujifungia kwa Airbnb. So ulisikia alienda akanong'onezea Kimanongo, akamwambia sema vijana walikuwa wanajabduct wakijipeleka kwa Airbnb. Si ndiye alianzisha story.
Yeah, I remember that day. Hiyo nakumbuka kwa hiyo event.
Yeye ndiye which means he is siding with the government.
Pale Kimani alikuwa na mtukana ule former
natembea.
Atuoli akakimbia hapo.
Akaambia Kimanongo asema vijana walikuwa na jabduct wakijipeleka kwa Airbnb. Sasa hiki Kimanongo amepeleka hiyo ujinga huko Algeria. Si amesema hiki kitu leo. So I think Atuoli should just focus on
mimi ningekuwa huko Kenya na tuseme mimi ni mfanyakazi, ningejoin kotu kitambo, nimtoe kabisa huyo. Ningemtoa hiyo kazi.
Nakusikia. Gen Z nakusikia. I think she was trying to say something in network yake labda.
Amepotea. That one is okay. So anyway, hebu niwaulize swali sasa. Huyu Atuoli, what is the end game yake in Kenya? Because sasa mumemuongea like can we continue working on his methodology? Like yes, we are saying he has a problem. The problem has been identified. We don't have, our young people do not have capacity to exterminate him in terms of political cycles. Ama huyu jamaa anaendelea kukaa hapo.
Njeru, good question. So hapo hivyo kwa court. So what people need to be interested now to find out is, if, for example, Clean Fix wants to find out because he's on the ground. What people need to find out is how many young people are there at the top of this trade union called COTU. How strong are they in that organization? You know, are they officials that can be trusted in this situation? Those are just the, watu wanaanza sasa brainstorming kutafuta ni njia gani kuskata people like Atuoli na deputy wake na deputy wa deputy wake, because at the moment I hear COTU, that's the way they are, wote ni wa Ruto kwa sababu ya Atuoli. If you can imagine there the other day, someone advised us here that Atuoli is on 10 million shillings. Yani hiyo ni income yake. He earns more than Ruto. Can you imagine? So, so as the Secretary General of COTU, you are also a board member of many government organizations by virtue of workers in those organizations. And also he has that international position. So he draws in 10 million shillings, okay, per month. Clean Fix.
Yes.
Hiyo 10 million shillings unaiona wewe mwenyewe? Umeshawahi kuiguza?
Wapi?
hata ile imeprintiwa River Road.
Wapi?
You tell me, wewe kama umeshika 10 million real or fake, hata kama ni ya River Road. So that is the thing. Yani mtu akona pesa ile ambayo a trade union officials should never be anywhere near. Alafu utasikia sasa watu wa kwenu wataanza kusema ati sijui unamvamia Mluya mwenzetu sijui nini. Ikiwa ni Babu Owino, watu wataanza kusema ati people are against this Luo man. So that is the one thing I miss about the youth revolution last year. Hakutaka hiyo nonsense ati mnasema mnaunga mkono mtu kwa sababu anatoka kwa kabila yenu. And that's what will happen once people have started removing Atuoli. Me, I would rather nimtoe Atuoli kabla sijamtoa Ruto. Juu najua nikimtoa Atuoli within months, tukiwa tunapata sasa mtu mpya ambaye ni jemedari wa wafanyakazi, ambaye haogopi serikali, amechukua court. Mimi nakwambia Ruto ni the next. Anaenda tu hivyo haraka. So na kuomba ujaribu kuongea na wale ambao kuna uwezo kumobilize, wako kwa hizo organizations za trade unions, waone vile wanaweza kufanya. It's easy for us to speak from abroad saying these things because I know how difficult it is for you guys on the ground, but you have to try it. There's no way we're going to leave the trade unions out of this equation. They must be involved. You know? Alafu sasa unapata mtu kama Atuoli amepersonalize hiyo organization. Now watu wa trade unions wengi wao hata kwa regional level, it's like it's their personal asset to be secretary general. Secretary generals are very powerful people of trade unions. Even out here in the UK, they are very, very powerful people, you know, because they are leading the biggest working forces of whichever industry that they're in. So they're very powerful people. So why is it that we have such powerful people in, for example, Kenya, mtu akuna bling bling at the end and to represent? Now, ukiona Kenya, compare na other countries, in fact, the trade union movement in Southern Africa, that is the one I could compare with Kenya. Hakuna njia ile ya Kenya inaweza kushikana na trade union movements za South Africa. Wale waliamka kitambo sana, you know, the trade union movement of movements za South Africa. Waliamka kitambo sana in comparison to yetu. Na wale watu in fact ndio wanatoa wanasiasa. Wale wa Tanzania, wa South Africa. Wanaambia wanasiasa endeni kule, tunawatoa elections wa mshindi. Unaona? So ndio maana nakwambia let's start a process, we start this conversation, alafu kile unatuletea feedback tuone vile watu wanaweza kufanya.
Okay, unajua they say unless there is this philosophy that says unless there is will to change, there will be no change. Yeah? So I think it is something that it needs an urgent attention. Juu mtu kama mzee kama huyu akivaa mabling bling, ako na machain chain, amekaa wafanyikazi wasichana wamemzunguka hivi, alafu mnamuita secretary general wa kotu, actually anatupoteza na inakaa kwa raha sana. Anapata mshahara mzuri, anaenjoy his old age na pesa ya watu, which means there must be a solution to that. Hatuwezi kuwa tunakuwa represented na watu kama hao. So unless there is will to change, there will be no change.
So MP wenu ni nani hapo Nairobi?
MP wa Nairobi?
No, in your constituency in Nairobi, where you voted. Ama you didn't vote in Nairobi?
Personally, I was not in Nairobi when the elections were being held, but right now, sisi ni watu wa Babu Owino, the best performing member of parliament. We are proud of that man.
Speak for yourself. Mko proud of Babu, eh?
The best, not just Babu, the best member of parliament.
Na siku hizi amekaa kimya sana, ameenda wapi?
Akaa kimya. Hukuona jana he has officially endorsed Raila, not Raila, he officially endorsed Kalonzo.
Yeah.
He said, hey, Babu Owino yesterday, just wakiwa Donholm jana, see Kalonzo had a meeting in Donholm yesterday. He officially endorsed Kalonzo. He said Wakenya wapatie Kalonzo, washike Kalonzo mkono awapeleke Canaan. Now that Baba betrayed him with that dimple man called Johnson Sakaja, now Babu Owino feels betrayed. Now he was the one to officially endorse Kalonzo for the presidential seat 2027. He is in full support of him.
Kwa sababu Kalonzo anaweza kumpatia deputy.
Sijui kama anaweza mpatia deputy, lakini personally right now, according to what the previous interviews he've had, the main interest right now, of course, anasema he qualifies to vie for any seat in Kenya, but right now he wants to deal with Sakaja. His main priority coming 2027 is to deal with Sakaja. That's his main priority.
Me, I've never had a problem with Kalonzo, except the time when he worked for Daniel Arap Moi. When he was brought in by Kibaki, via Kina Martha Karua to save Kibaki in 2007, I looked at Kalonzo in a different way. I have two opinions about that. But personally, sijui kama wewe uko na shida na Kalonzo, mimi sina shida na huyo jamaa. In fact, in the last two elections, he contributed a lot of votes from his region. And it is easy to forget that Kalonzo Musyoka can also be, part of a change, from what we have now. I know he has baggage from the past, but if you compare with some of these people, I think he's a safe bet. I don't have a problem with someone like Kalonzo, even leading a certain powerful coalition against Mr. Ruto. So yeah.
It is easy to say that, but if you look closely, he needs, I think, a strong background to support him to vie for that seat. Juu si kukuwa tu endorsed na mtu kama Babu Owino. Of course, Babu Owino anaweza mkampainia and so on and so forth, but he needs a strong background. He needs a strong supporting system ndio at least aweze, kwa sababu huyu Kasongo amejipanga, my friend. Anasemanga hakuna mtu mwenye anaweza shindana na yeye. Saizi yeye aoni mpinzani, anasema watu wanataka tu kumtoa kwa kiti, hawana manifesto. Hivyo ndio ametuambia leo, wanataka tu kumtoa kwa presidential seat, hawataki hawana maendeleo, hawaleti maendeleo. And that keeps me wondering, hii maendeleo yenye unaongelea ni kutaja barabara tu jamani? Si hata basi utuoneshe barabara zenyewe. Juzi ndio hii ameanza barabara inatoka Mandera, sijui inaenda wapi. Jana ndio hii amekuja watu leo ako Lamu, sijui anasema barabara like kila siku project za president kwa ziara yake. Si hata basi uende kwa shule ulaunch hata shule, uende hata mahali ulaunch hata hospitali. Wewe utakuwa una launch tu barabara kila siku jamani? Kwani Wakenya wanakula barabara? Si hata basi useme nimetengeneza hapa kiwanda ambayo italetea vijana wetu kazi. Nimetengeneza hapa jua kali industry, nimeimprove jua kali industry, italetea vijana kazi. Lakini sasa wewe ukitulaunchia tu barabara, na barabara zenyewe hata haulaunch, unataja tu. So me, I think Kalonzo needs a good manifesto than that, not just roads, but a good manifesto and a good supporting system and a good background for him to vie for that seat, kwa sababu kama watu wa kwao wanamsupport 100%. And I think ameshaanza campaign zake to the look of things. Juzi tulimuona Isiolo na campaign, tumemuona anatembea. He should just start creating a very strong background and a very strong supporting system, ndio angalau aweze kuangusha ujamaa. Lakini bure hakuna mtu up to now, I can confirm to you guys, I'm sorry for saying this, but Ruto amejipanga sawa sawa. Huyu jamaa amejipanga. Mkipiga plan B yako tayari 2 steps ahead, kwa sababu si yako kwa government. Si kama si anajua venye kura zitaibiwa, si anajua venye wataamend hizo tablets zenye wanaenda wanatoa sijui 128 billion kwenda kuzinunua. Hizo tablets zenye wanataka, si wanajua venye wataziamend. Hizo server au watu wenye wanafanya kazi kwa hizo server, si anajua venye atawalipa. If he can pay African heads of state to vote for Baba 13 billion, what is 10 billion to pay for someone to... Ukipewa 10 billion saizi ufungulie Ruto server amend elections, utakataa 10 billion generational wealth. You see, that's why I'm saying we need a good strategy. We need to know how we will protect the IEBC commission. We need a trustworthy IEBC commissioner. We need a very honest man that will serve the IEBC commissioner. We need a man that does not accept bribing. Kwa sababu mtu kama huyo akipewa tu 10 billion anauza wa Kenya tena kama Chebukati.
Mama Nyakairo ako hapa. Gen Z, ama wewe pia umetoroka?
No, I'm here.
Hatukusikii. Si umpatie Cleanflix powers ya kunini, kwa sababu hatukusikii vizuri.
Yeah, I think my network problem.
Me, I can't hear anything at all.
Kuna mtu ananiuliza hapa anaitwa Gibson Corner, anauliza who do I have in mind? Personally, I don't have anyone in mind right now, to be honest, kwa sababu sisi atuangalii who do we have in mind or something. We just need a good leader, yeah? So ndio tuweke tuseme who do we have in mind, tunafaa tuangalie hawa watu wenye we have in mind watatuletea nini yenye Kaongo hajatuletea, watatusaidia aje? Kwa sababu sasa tukileta mtu kama Kaongo tena kwa kiti, we will suffer again for the next coming 10 years. And probably if Ruto wins this second term, I'm telling you my friends, we are going to suffer. Akiwin second term, ujamaa anataka kutukandamiza vizuri. Hata tuandamane ndio tutakuwa abducted saa vizuri, kwa sababu atatushika, anajoin second term yake. Tulimvuruga first term, atashinda Museveni. Mtakuwa mnatoka tu hivi kwa street, order to kill, shoot to kill order inatolewa. Mtakuwa mnapost tu kitu kwa Instagram, kwa Twitter, mnakujiwa, kwa sababu this is his last term. Hata waikuwa kwa hiyo kiti tena. So he's unleashing his full potential, his whole demon, the dictator that we know in him that is trying to hide away. The person that we know ameficha sahi, atatoa hiyo shetani. Sasa if we elect this person the second term, jueni tu as Kenyans we are done and there is nothing we can do about it. Even the media houses will be afraid to air his news. Unaona venye Museveni ameshika Uganda, hivyo ndio atatushika. So that person that we have in mind, we don't know right now, kwa sababu wa Munyoro is yet to tell us his manifesto. Kalonzo ndio huyo anatuambia tu manifesto yenye tumezoea kusikia, hakuna hata tofauti. Murara Kebaso ndio huyo yeye anaongeleanga tu corruption, hakuna kitu kingine yenye anaongeleanga. Kitu inamsumbua tu sana ni corruption. Leo tumeona ameambia Martha Karua akimshinda ampatie position ya EACC adil na corruption, which means his main focus is corruption. He does not have a development mind in Kenya. Anataka kudili na corruption kwanza, which is acceptable. Mtu kama Fred Matiang'i bado hata tujasikia manifesto yake. Tunajua hata anataka kuwania president, hajatuambia president unatuletea nini kwa meza. Martha Karua ndio hii anasema justice, liberation, sijui liberation party ndio ame launch party yake, but what will that party do that other parties cannot do? That is the main reason that we have to ask ourselves. Mtu kama nani mwingine anataka kuwania president, mtu kama Maraga, I don't know if it's a joke or I don't know if it is serious, but mtu kama Maraga, what will he have to offer? Justice only. So I think these people needs to come up with a manifesto, a very strong manifesto that will convince Kenyans, nyewe hii manifesto na hatujaisikia walai. Hebu tupatieni huyu jamaa kiti tuone kama atatutoa kwa hii shida. Lakini tukianza tu manifesto ya barabara yenye tumezoea kusikia 10 years, 20 years ago, manifesto ya kusijui nini, hapana. We need a president that will come and tell us, you don't want this affordable housing scheme. well and good, fanyeni vile mnataka, pesa ni yenyu. Actually, personally, I was telling my viewers pale YouTube, they should not accept to be paid in payslips, kwa sababu if you are complaining about payslips every day, you are complaining that Ruto is taking away affordable housing, you are complaining that house levy is being deducted from your salary, you are complaining that shisha is being deducted from your payslip, you are complaining that other taxes that you don't know or you don't hold accountable of are being deducted from your payslip. Why don't you have or come up with a plan that all civil servants will claim, no, we don't want to be paid in payslips anymore, we want to be paid in cash? Yeah? Tuone Kasongo atapata wapi pesa ya SHIF yenye anatulazimisha. Tunashinda tukiona kwa news, hata leo watu wameandamana, SHIF haifanyi, SHA haifanyi, na Kasongo na huyo Deborah Baraza ama sijui anaitwa aje, wanatuambia nini inafanya, nimeongea nao watu wa Lamu inafanya. Kwani inafanya kaunti zingine na huku countries zenye watu wanaandamana haifanyi jamani? So we need someone to come up with different strategies zenye zitatusaidia kutoa watu kama hao kwa kiti. Kwa sababu ukituambia SHA inafanya, county A ina protest SHA ifanyi, county B waziri wa nini anatuambia SHA inafanya. Sasa tutasikiliza nani? Of course tutasikiliza wenye wanaandamana, ndio wanaumia. Hao watu wanakujanga kwa serikali kujitajirisha, na mtu kama Kasongo anajitajirisha na hizi schemes kama affordable housing, anajitajirisha kama na vitu kama hizo pesa zenye SHA ilikuwa SHA zilienda wapi? So we need a leader. We have in mind a leader who will be more of development, who will be more of Kenyans, mwenye ataangalia mazingira ya Wakenya kuliko azingatie kurudisha pesa za campaign kwanza, kuliko azingatie kutengeneza generational wealth, kuliko azingatie kutengeneza mali yake kwanza. Tunafaa tutafute a leader who will come with a better strategy and a better manifesto, a manifesto that we've never had before, that can convince us. Lakini ukikuja mtu kama Kalonzo anakuja kama kawaida, nitaleta mambo ya elimu, nitaleta mambo ya barabara, si Ruto anatuambianga barabara kila siku amefanya. So hii akili tunafaa tusiende nayo 2027. Kama tunataka kuchagua kiongozi, tuangalieni kiongozi mwenye atajali maslahi ya Wakenya, not a leader who will just want to return his campaign money first before focusing on Kenyans.
So talking of campaign money, I'll speak for 1 or 2 minutes, then I will allow Nyakairo to take over from me. I just wanted to say that when Uhuru Kenyatta stood in 2013, people of his side, as in his supporters, said that it was better to campaign and vote for a wealthy person, a super wealthy prince, because they will not be bothered about stealing from public money. So that was the argument then. But of course, we saw what happened in Uhuru's government and Eurobond and all that. All the big scandals still happened. In fact, his family, they were very closely attached to the corruption that was taking place. Then, if we use the same way of thinking about people spending a lot of money, and then when they get into power, they want to just get their money back plus profits. So this Mr. Ruto, again, the same kind of thinking, because he's wealthy, through corruption, through stealing, it is better for someone. In fact, people were saying, afadhali mwizi ambaye tunamjua, ambaye tunamtambua, mwizi wetu. So unasikia hivyo? Wakadecide basi huyo mwizi wao ndio namtaka. And again, the same idea what you're saying, that mtu sasa ameshinda kura ama mpatiwa kura na Supreme Court, sijui sasa arudishe zile pesa za azinyakue zile pesa ambazo zile hela alitumia kwa campaigns. So you look at Kalonzo, he has not yet been found directly guilty of huge misappropriation of public funds. And he understands international affairs. So I would say that if at all people decide that it's him, they would be lucky in a way, because this guy has been international platforms as former foreign minister and so on. He understands international politics very well. He doesn't shout, so see, he doesn't have the charisma of Kina Raila Odinga or Kina Uhuru Kenyatta and all that. But if you look at his wealth in comparison to Kina Gachagua, those kind of people, and Kina Uhuru and Raila, then he's a safe bet. You don't have to say that because he's not a poor man, but he's not a billionaire like the rest of them. So maybe it's a safe bet in terms of akichukua leadership ya Kenya. But I don't know if it's too late, because one of the things always supported is if the constitution is changed even just a bit, so that the presidency does not become as executive as it is, as powerful as it is. So have a parliamentary system that will help, because then we'll not have this problem that we have, where kila mtu anataka kuwa president ili wakuwe na ile power, alafu arrogance na vitu kama, unaona mtu kama Ruto, sijui 60 vehicles. Someone put on their podcast the other day, vehicles that travel with Mr. Ruto, and previously we've seen that with Uhuru Kenyatta, Mr. Kibaki, top of the range vehicles, fuel guzzlers. They're back, and it's money that Kenya cannot afford. If we had a presidency that was just parliamentary, and we have this hybrid system where it's a ceremonial but also executive presidency, it's not powerful executive, but also if we could just make it a non-executive presidency, where a prime minister becomes the person who runs the government, but the head of state, who is the president, just signs documents. So he's an official rubber stamp. That will make people shy away from trying to be elected as president, honestly. And this thing has succeeded in many countries. So while we're looking for change, lazima we continue talking about where is the problem. Na hiyo shida iko tu hapo kwa hiyo executive presidency. Hapo ndio kuna shida. Alafu unajua vile tunajua hapa hivi, mtu alisema juzi ati ukienda kila wilaya utaenda hata kwa ofisi ya chief. Ofisi ya chief, what will be the first thing you see? Office of the president. That is just too much. That this person has power to the village level even today. So you can see, if we change all those things, then your elections. In fact, elections will be very, 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 very clean, of high integrity. Honestly. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay.
Mimi sina neno, nasikiza tu sasa. I'm just listening here what these guys have to say. I've run out of words because mambo ni mengi. So
we bwana, never say in a broadcast that you have run out of words. that doesn't look good.
Now you've said many things. Like I'm wondering which should I comment on. Perhaps you could tell me what I should comment on or what is my take on one point, and then you can go to the second point.
Hata unaweza kusema pengine ndio maana hizo TV stations zinakuanga na commercial breaks, you know, adverts alafu watu wanarudi tena na you know, wanasema zile ambazo walisahau. Lakini nilisikia mtu akiongea maneno ya sijui Sakaja na Nairobi City Council hapo County Hall. What do you think about the garbage? Ile garbage walipeleka.
Personally on that, I think hii mambo ya Sakaja na KPLC ilikuwa tu something of foolish act, because tell me why KPLC owns Nairobi City Council owns KPLC a total of 4.1 billion. KPLC owns City Council 3.1 billion. These people are mutually benefit. Why am I saying this? Because Nairobi City Council needs electricity to run its things. The KPLC company needs water and all those sewage control and sewage management systems to work. They depend on each other. And again, these people who are fighting this institution, they are all major government institutions. I mean, what did Sakaja do? Did we vote for him to come up with with such a conclusion? Dumping garbage haikuwa the best strategy. These people saizi venye wameelewana hivyo, wangeelewana tu hivyo kwanza before. Sasa unaona hii ni kupatia watu wenye walienda kumwaga hiyo takataka huko kazi ngumu, kwa sababu wewe unaambia watu endeni mwage takataka, unaenda unachota takataka Dandora huko kwa dump site, unakuja unatumwagia Parklands, Stima Plaza. Hiyo takataka ayumizi watu wa Stima Plaza, unajua, kwa sababu these people of Stima Plaza, they are civil servants. When they are being told you should go home, they enjoy actually, because who does not need a holiday in this country? Who does not? Actually, that is like a holiday to them. If they are being told go home, tumekosana na Nairobi City Council, wamekuja mwaga takataka inanuka, tuendeni nyumbani. You see? So that was not a best move. Wanasema we allow Nyakairo to speak. Let Nyakairo speak, please.
Hello everybody, habari zenu. Nasalimia Jency Messiah, Eli, Clean Filks na Wakenya wenzangu uko kwa comment section. I hope everybody is okay. Nimesikia Clean Flix amesema maneno ni mengi, una la kusema. In fact, you should have a lot to say. As Eli said, you can't lack something to say. And especially in the country Kenya we are living in right now. It's horrible. Yani mambo ni mengi kabisa. What I'm trying to say is, Eli spoke in a clip. He was talking about the Norwegian. Yani huyu jambazi ameamua kutumia kila kitu, akiona kikipita kinakuwa chake na anaanza kuadvertise vile kitaleta manufaa kwa nchi, even if it is passing, going to its way. Akiona tu hivi amepata kitu cha kusema na cha kuuza. It's very discouraging the way we have this kind of leadership ambayo haina mwelekeo, na bado anatutishia hapo ati hatuwezi kumshinda, yeye ndiye atakuwa mshindi. That makes people feel so angry, kulingana na hiyo majivuno ako nayo saa ile watu wanateseka. And you wonder why is he feels that he can continue punishing people, making people live in misery as it is right now. Mimi ninashindwa hii mambo yote inaenda wapi, tunaelekea wapi? Because there are so many things that are not going right. Mliongea habari ya Atwoli. Atwoli has been side by side with the winning side. He doesn't care, he don't feel even ashamed. Mdomo yake iko kama tu ya hiyo jambazi. I mean, ni mtu ambaye hana mwelekeo, sijui anafikiria nini, sababu kazi yake ni kuongea tu mambo ambayo haina manufaa. Anawaambia vile mtafanya, lakini anajua nyinyi ndio mtaumia. For now, I know from a reliable source, kijana wake amepewa tenda kubwa sana na serikali, so he will not attack the government because he is earning in a different way. So he is surviving, thriving through this government while we are complaining. The other thing I want to say is hawa watu ambao ni civil servant who are complaining that mishahara yao inaenda, we will not fight for them if they go on remaining in their cocoon. Yani wana complain mishahara yetu imeenda, but they don't want to do anything. They don't want to join the fighting side for the country. Wao ni kukaa tu, lakini manunguniko hawaachi. How can we fight for them while they are still inside those offices doing the work that they are complaining they are not getting their pay as they used to? Hii deduction zote wanakuwa deducted. If they feel pinched, they should come out and say enough is enough and join the people of Kenya. Because pahali unaumwa, wewe ndio utaenda kwa daktari umwambie ninaumwa na hapa. Si ati mzazi ndio atatoka aende kwa daktari amwambie mtoto wangu anaumwa na ako nyumbani. You cannot do that. So these people need to come out and join the people. We fight together. Don't complain while you are in the offices. Kitu ingine niliona ni hii ya huyu Ichung'wa when he was being interviewed by Al Jazeera. Kweli hawa watu hawataacha majivuno na kujifanya ni werefu sana. The question he was asked is about who voted for the most corrupt in the world. Akauliza Al Jazeera, whom do you think they were? Al Jazeera guy, journalist, akasema Kenyans. Naye Ichung'wa akasema, what do you expect? Kenyans are always active, looking for things. Now, when they heard that I'm coming for a Jazeera interview, did you see my, I don't know whether it is Facebook or whatever, whether it is TikTok, ilijazana kwa sababu wa Kenya walikuwa ready to gang up. But this is the question. Yes, you don't want people to gang up to attack you, but you want people to gang up to vote for you. Which is which? Where do you stand? People ganged up, they voted for you. That is why you are there. But you don't want people to gang up to tell you what bad things you are doing. You cannot be a leader. You are just there for yourself. He heard that Ruto was the most corrupt. He wanted to defend him. And also on those 3 people who were being picked to talk at Al Jazeera interview, there were 2 guys and 1 lady. You still see these people with the tribal mentalism are still carrying it even abroad. Huyo sijui alikuwa anaitwa Moses Langat. He still wanted to say that Ruto inherited. And even Al Jazeera asked him, inherited? Because he was trying to defend that Ruto inherited the problem. But who have caused the most problems in Kenya right now? Who do we have on record? Who is the most corrupt in the world? So this hii kitu ya ati mtu ni wetu, unamtetea hata kwa nchi za kigeni, it has become sickening. Something that we cannot be able to understand. What is the mentality? What is the aim of you not speaking the truth? Alisema ati raisi alisimama na Gen Z akawasikiza. What did he do? And even after doing that small thing that he have listened, nimesikia nyinyi vile mmesema, what did he do? He turned around after dropping the finance bill. Now it is coming bit by bit. What is the difference? Now huyu Langat Moses, he doesn't see that. He is stuck on the very beginning. Hataki kujua wakati huu kile watu wanaendea. So those are the things that really are killing Kenyans. Those are the people who cannot let Kenya develop. Those are people who have got mentality of mtu ni wetu, kwa hivyo hata akiua hata afanye nini, we still defend him. Why? Why do you do that? You look just like that person who is doing those evil things. You are equal. Because when you support such kind of behavior, who are you? You are the same kind of character. So nilimwangalia huyo Langati nikashindwa. I'm not tribal. And Kenyans, please understand me. Me, I'm not tribal. But I picked on him because of the irrelevant information that he tried to bring without looking back and then look the front, the current, what is happening, so that you don't talk of the previous, talk of the current, what people are going through, because that is how future is built. But when you start saying that, oh, aliua zamani siku hizi haui, and he's still doing it, so unamdefend hapo mbele, lakini sahi bado anafanya. So what do you want to tell us? Aliiba pesa wakati ule, lakini sahi hafanyi na bado anaendelea na hiyo corruption. What are you trying to tell us? Are we blind? Are we deaf? Are we, yani sisi ni watu wajinga, hatuelewi na mambo. When I look all about this, Kenya will never heal if we have this kind of mentality. Mmoja hapa, mwingine ako kona ile. Those are the poisonous things that we have in Kenya right now. So maisha yetu imekuwa imechanganywa vibaya sana. Watu wanaishi kiholela, hawaelewi ni aje watafanya. Ndio watu waelewe, watu ambao wamesoma hawataki kukubali masomo yao iwaambie ukweli wa mambo. They don't want to take things the way they are. They are trying to twist it like how they are doing. It's terrible. Hata huyo same Moses Langat, what he said, ati Rais is not a politician, is a leader. Kenyans, look at that. He's a leader, he's not a politician. Na huku sisi tunajua watu wanasema he's a very smart politician. Sasa huyo mmoja amechanganyikiwa na anataka sisi tuchanganyikiwe. Surely we have a long way to go. Na ndio ninasema hata hawa civil servants, they need to come out with what they want. Either they stay there and keep quiet, or they come out and shout. If they are suffering, wao ndio wanajua ile moto wanaota. Kama ni kali, watoke, wakuje watu join. Another thing I learned today is that Kenyan are living in many places, and there are people who are really living in fear in their own country. We have got other things. I'm going out of the topic a little bit. We have got Kenyans who are living just next these big ranches owned by white supremacy. Na hawa watu wameamua kuishi kwao ni inchi yao. Hizo ranches ni inchi yao. Sio Kenya. It's a different world. Why am I saying this? Since 1980s, these white people have settled in Kenya in different corners of the country. And they have fenced their areas with electric fences. It's okay. That means you are secured. You have secured your part. But I'm trying to ask, why do they have the right of treating neighbors because they are poor like animals? Why do they feel that they have got guns to shoot Kenyans who are poor neighbors, who are living just against the road, which is the road between the white people and the natives? and they feel that they have a right to jump their fence and go and shoot people who are innocently walking on the road. Who gave them those permit of doing that? What permission do they have to shoot Kenyans like animals? So they suppose that the life of animals is more important than a Kenyan person, native. Why I'm bringing this is because I have had many stories in those pastoralist areas whereby these people have occupied, these white people have occupied. They treat these Kenyans, Africans, like animals. They don't want to see them. They can shoot them anytime. How many have been killed? Many. And they are being killed for no reason. Just being suspicious that they have done something wrong. Instead, even calling for police to come and arrest those who they think they have done wrong, they shoot like animals. But the animals that are there wild, they cannot be shot. They can be let to live. So we have so many enemies in our country. And this enmity has been created by these two people. In fact, it was during Moi time. That is when these ranches were formed. And now we have got those ranches prospering very much and evading even paying taxes. But the poor Kenyan ambaye anaendesha pikipiki, ambaye anaenda kuuza mboga, they are being followed everywhere they are to pay their taxes. But those ranches, they don't pay taxes. Where are we going wrong? Na hiyo ndio mtindo ya hawa watu ambao wanajiona wao wako na mali. Na hiyo imekuwa entertained from then up to today, that Kenyans are going to live in fear, being near a ranch, and that is where, fortunately, they have their small land that they occupy with shanties where they live, and they don't care whether those are living large, but still they can afford, these white people can afford to jump their fence and go and start attacking innocent Kenyans. Where are we heading? And yet, those people who have been attacked and tortured almost to death, they have nobody to come to their side. They have tried to go to many corners to seek justice. Nothing is working. These are people who cannot afford even transport to go to the police station twice or thrice in whichever times they want to go there to report their case. They cannot afford. So they are shattered. They keep quiet. That case is gone because nobody is caring about those Kenyans. But when it comes about election, those people are very important to go and queue and vote for someone. And when you look at what is going on in those areas, surely it's hata polisi wenyewe hawataki hiyo mambo. KWS is there but don't want to get involved. KWS is there like a stooge. They are there just, covering up everything that is happening. So I just wonder, ni nani mwokozi wetu kwa nchi yetu? I'm putting all these things together because it is our country. Hawa ni wananchi wa Kenya. Nani atawasikiliza? Nani atawasaidia? Those people who are in those areas, they are the same people who have got their people. They are Kenyans, like even those who are in the office, who are being levied all this money to cater for someone's greediness, to keep on harassing Kenyans to live in such a way that nobody expects. You cannot support yourself, you cannot support your family, just because these greedy people joined together don't want to see you eat or sleep comfortably or even smile. So Kenyans, it's us to decide. Ni nani tutafuata? Ni nani ako tayari kushikana na sisi tuweze kuendesha nchi yetu? It is true, I had Babu Owino endorse Kalonzo. And that is good, because we can see there are people who have got right mind, because they are seeing whatever is happening is not right for our Kenya or Kenyans, for these guys who are colluding together just to form their own area of how they can live comfortably with all this money with them and not supporting wananchi. Na ninasema hivyo kwa sababu ya Raila kudecide kwenda kujoin Ruto. We have given him permission to decide what he want to decide, but I know Kenyans right now, they are all on one side deciding who can we have to follow, because they are done and dusted with the Raila. So Kenyans, wherever they are, my prayer is that don't change your mind. Let's focus on our way. Our goal is coming. We have got a good trajectory, and that is what we are going to follow. So for me, I'll stop there, but I say Kenya is very much at grieving point, kwa sababu yale yote yanatendeka Kenya, it's not of good for Kenyans. Kenyans are not enjoying their life, and I pray like what huyo mtu ametoka Clean Flix amesema ati Ruto already amejipanga. Huyo ni binadamu kama sisi, amejipanga. Yes, we can agree with that, but nobody knows of tomorrow. Hiyo kujipanga ni kama wale watu huwa wananunua lori mkubwa, hapo nyuma anasema ni kufanya kazi na nguvu. They don't know what is waiting for them ahead. But all in all, I know our day is coming and Kenya will stand. Mimi huwa ninapea watu hope ya kuwa mazuri huwa yanakuja. Because once people lose hope, it's just like they are dead. So for me, I want Kenyans to keep their hope and focus for what is good for our country. Those are the prayers that people should have in their mind, that Kenya will stand and will survive. Nchi yetu isimame. God bless Kenya. Asanteni, Eli. I'm done.
Thank you, Nyakairo. I think Gen Z Messiah has problems with audio. It's not sounding very clear. So for that reason, I will step in. I know she's steering the ship, but we can't hear her, what she's saying. But Nyakairo, I wanted to top up on something that you mentioned. That's to do with the video clip that I made, the audio clip that I made yesterday. And I posted it just to a few people. It was in relation to, for those of you who don't know, but this is about the Norwegian sea vessel. It's called Norwegian Dawn, as in Norwegian Dawn, DAWN, which docked in Mombasa on the 23rd of this month. And I think it was a Sunday, if I can remember well. And Ruto and his boys, Kina Chirchir, the governor of Mombasa, and many government officials attended this event. So they were talking about how much Kenya has made just because this huge vessel that carried just under 3,000 people from around the world had landed, had docked in Mombasa, that the government made a lot of money. If you do your research, you find that this particular vessel only stayed in Mombasa from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. So it stopped only for half a day. And usually these vessels, when they visit cities along the coast of any other part of the world, they're supposed to be charged a certain amount of taxation, because obviously they are carrying passengers. And in the case of Kenya, what I researched was, if the government earned anything from this vessel, it wouldn't have surpassed the highest mark, maybe 35 to 40,000 US dollars, but most probably $23,000. And then Ruto spoke about how this particular tourism has brought a lot of money to Kenya. Now, we saw that the vessel had those small boats that brought the tourists into the dock, and only a few of the tourists, not even 100, 120, 150, if you saw those pictures clearly. And this thing brought nearly 3,000 people ndani ya hiyo meli. Na huyu jamaa huyu Ruto, with his marketing skills, hizo za corrupt marketing, anatuambia na propaganda zake ati hawa wazungu walikuja wakaleta mamilioni Kenya huko Mombasa. You tell me, with the traffic chaos in Mombasa, what's the farthest these people would have gone to, so that they're able to get back to the vessel 5 hours before it leaves? Because most of the time, these people, whenever they stop from city to city, if they do stop, disembark, they're allowed 5-6 hours. Warudi haraka, ndio meli isiwawache. So that there was just, by the way, Kenyan media is part of the problem, because they will not research these things. Ati a whole president or purported president ameenda kushughulika na maneno za local za Mombasa. Even the governor shouldn't go there.
Ellie, is this not a cruise that normally we see go from one sea to the other?
That Norwegian vessel has come to Kenya before. Most of these vessels in Kenya, for example, after the pirates stopped their business a few years ago, they will visit Kenya about 6 huge vessels per year. So it's not news. But are you saying that is it just a crew? No, there were also passengers who came to the dock, as far as I saw. But they did not, there was no economic importance to this stopover. Nothing whatsoever. Ni kama wewe ukienda huko, tuseme unaenda, kama sisi tunarudi Western Nyanza, tukifika Nakuru, sijui tunataka kununua chai hapa kidogo, kuna passengers wengine hata watashika hizo vitu za duka hizo ambazo pale sijui kina the buses will stop. Some of the passengers will not even be interested to buy things. It is a stopover. This vessel was going to Mauritius or Madagascar, something like that. You can track vessels online and in real time. And this is a kind of thing where they must have told the presidential protocol, mumalize hii kazi haraka, sisi tuko na haraka. A vessel of that huge magnitude, si kitu ya kuchezea ati mnaleta watu. In fact, it's nonsense. Mnaleta watu ati sijui ati ndio ati mtu hapo amekuja na ile podium ya serikali ndio aongee, aseme ati sijui sasa this is what we are doing with a Norwegian vessel. My friend, even to have, let's talk about flags, flags of convenience. For example, the Liberian flag of convenience is known to be one of the most powerful in the whole world. People use the Liberian flag. Many shipping companies, they're registered under the Liberian flag because it is the most affordable in the world. Now, instead of us through the transport ministry trying to imagine, to be creative, that is what we can make Kenya also be famous in that way, so that our Kenyan flag can be high up there with Liberia and countries like Bahamas and so on, and places like Barbados, or countries that their flags are important. I think that we have to start being creative. But when we do things like atisiji meli imedok Mombasa, alafu tunaenda hapo sijui Kenyan dancers, sijui dancing troupe, I am telling you that Norwegian Dawn vessel that landed in Mombasa haikuleta anything more than $30,000, not even in cash, just payment for or taxing along the coast of Mombasa. And I think Mr. Ruto, of the dishonesty and propaganda we know about him, that one there was even childish. I mean, it is something that it was unimaginable. Ati someone who calls himself a president anaweza kufanya hivyo. Hata wazungu pengine walimcheka sana. Unaona? But the worst thing is that the Kenyan media does not take such events, does not note such events. They don't research the things that is happening around them to deconstruct the behavior of this person called Mr. William Ruto. The advisors of Ruto, yani ni kama wako childish kabisa. Sijui shida yao ni nini. Ni kama wale advisors wa Raila Odinga pia. They don't see anything important about wananchi at all. And so that's why I wanted to point out that the next time you see a leader ati wanaenda hapo kwa sababu there's a vessel that has stopped, you know that they are conning you vibaya sana, especially the fact that these vessels cannot afford to stay for 2-3 days because they're not coming to towns for 2-3 days. Those things are cities in themselves, those big vessels. They have everything at a hospitality. So why do they want to waste their time spending 2-3 days in Mombasa? Maybe if we were a little bit more organized and made it a thing that vessel can stay docked, and then for a couple of days we make it cheaper for them to disembark, and then you can say yes, the Norwegian Dawn and the Kenyan government have done a deal here. Their tourists have spent for the last 3 days X amount of money staying in our hotels and so on and so forth. Lakini hiyo ya 1 day, 12 hours, 5 hours ni ujinga sana. It's not something for Ruto to parrot about. Thank you. Bwana Njiru, what do you think about that?
Maybe unaweza niuliza swali tena kidogo. I was a bit off, sasa ndio nimeingia. Just ask me in 1 minute, alafu I will answer you, please, if you don't mind to ask. Eddie, ask me.
Bwana Njiru, a bit far-fetched subtopic here was about, when that ile meli ilikuja Mombasa, it was called the Norwegian Dawn.
Ile imeenda kukaribishwa na Ruto. That is stupidity bwana. So unajua bwana, it was so unfortunate that kiongozi wa taifa alienda kufanya kazi kama hiyo. So very soon huyo jamaa sasa atakuwa anafanya zile kazi basic kwa nchi. So ni kumaanisha huyo jamaa hakuna kazi anafanya. So ni kutafutilia tu kitu kadogo so that he can be seen that he is doing something. I think although it was strategic, mimi nafikiria alikuwa anataka tu kujaribu kujipea jina mzuri kwa hizo nchi za ngambo. It was pretend that and also maybe kujaribu pia kuleta news alikuwa analeta news ya kwamba sasa ati tourist wameanzia kufika Kenya. Si ulikuwa unasikia hata walikuwa wanatangaza sijui ati hiyo meli ilikuwa na watu zaidi ya 2,000. To me I thought that Ruto wanted it, ni kama alikuwa na launch. Wacha tu niite kama alikuwa na launch tourists. Bwana Eli, are you understanding that? Alikuwa na launch tourists. Sasa unajua kama kuna kitu. So Ruto alikuwa ana launch tourists.
Hey, and by the way, before you continue, you know that Wakenya wengi wanafanya kwa hizo meli. Wengi. Kuna nyingine ilikuja huku, alafu huyu mama huyu anatoka kwenu huko. When I say kwenu, ni huko side yenu ya Embu Meru. Na alitualika tukuje tu tuone hiyo meli, nakwambia it was like a city. Yani with sijui how many floors. Karibu 15, 18 floors. Wanaita decks. Na alitufanyia mwaliko powerful sana. Tulikaa kwa hiyo meli the whole day, breakfast, lunch na dinner. Nilipeleka watoto huko. Saa hizo kabla hujafika hapo wanakuuliza you surrender your passport details, you know, your ID 2 weeks before they arrive, before the vessel docks, you know. And the people, even the people that I saw that left that vessel to just come into the city here, there were very few. And it only stayed for the whole day. Wakatoka. Wakaenda, you know, their journey was up northwards. And then back to Scotland and then to the rest of Europe. So, ni kama amekuja kulaunch hawa wazungu Mombasa.
Yeah, of course.
Lakini Kenya sijui.
Jamani,
yani we are easy to enjoy. Ama Uhuru Kenyatta pia alifanya kitu kama hiyo, ama Kibaki. Can you remember?
No, mimi sijaiona akina Uhuru akifanya vitu kama hizo unless if you guide me. Sijaiona, lakini hiyo story ya launch tourist nimeiona na Ruto. But it was amazing and surprising. Mimi kuona ati anasalimia matourist hapo hata sikuamini. So mbona asiende kwa mambuga huko pia kwa launch huko, aende Savo sasa.
Imagine what you could do. Just let's say you have two free days, two free days per week as a president. Those free days, you say, I am going to visit Igembe constituency. I just want to see a construction site inaanza ya shule. Within a month ninarudi, imemalizika. Haya, aende Homa Bay, aende sijui Kitale, aende kule Garissa, and even further north. You know, things like that. Because again, because of the presidential system, your executive power, he is able to do those stupid things. He has to micromanage the country.
Yeah, sure, Bwana Eri, I agree on that. Huyo best the level at which anaenjoy Wakenya, and that's why he should exit power. Hakuna mtu kama huyo, he should get near. Unajua bwana, you know the day walianzia ku launch choo, ku launch transformer, sasa wameanzia ku launch tourist. Sasa very soon hata sasa watoto wakizaliwa watakuwa wanaenda ku launchiwa. No.
We Njiru, hiyo ni yako. Ati ali launch choo wapi wewe? Ai bwana, hiyo that's too much.
They have been launching those small projects, which yani kitu hata nakwambia bwana Eli, Hata wewe ile siku utajet Kenya. Ile siku utajet Kenya utalaunchiwa. You will be launched. Wewe Eli, you will be launched. Anyway, wacha tusikie Julia vile anasema. Julia, hata wewe ile siku utaenda Kenya, wewe utalaunchiwa wewe. Weka hapo. Anyway, and that's why we should do away with these people. I think this nonsense is too much. This nonsense is beyond reproach. It's like things they are always getting worse and worse and worse. So, Julia, what do you think about that? Julia, uko ama bado ama hauko? Na tafadhali wale wanataka kuingia kwa kituo, muingie kwa kituo ili we continue. So, Bwana Ed, let me ask you a question, sababu najua uko katika nchi za ng'ambo. Prime Minister wako kwenyu ana launching matourist wakifika kuwakaribisha.
Do you know that he will lose his job the next day? Here, and I hate to compare Kenya and other countries because we're a unique country, we're sovereign, and we have our own cultures and things like that. But in terms of the comparison that we have to do, you know, sometimes we have to do it. Like, if a prime minister here tried any nonsense like that, nakwambia itakuwa shida. Kama hata grand projects, I mean,
one minute. Nataka kukuleta ili watu waelewe how serious these things are. Kama sasa si prime minister wenyu aliuawa na kitu ilikuwa inaitwa Partygate. Unakumbuka Partygate? Si ndio iliuwa huyo jamaa?
Hiyo ya Boris Johnson.
Aliuawa na Partygate, sijui ati
wanafanya party siku za COVID.
Na hiyo kitu kamumaliza bwana.
Kabisa. So in terms of, and it's not that these people are better than us. No, we have just refused to do the things that we have established in our constitution. We don't want to implement them. We do these stupid things. So hii kitu ya nini ati kwanza mi sijai kuona ati prime minister amelaunch kitu. Honestly, sijawahi ona kitu kama hiyo. Ati sijui shule imefunguliwa na prime minister nini. Hapana. I have never ever seen anything. There is separation of powers mpaka the most devolved seat. There's separation of powers. Kabisa. And anyone here can contradict what I'm saying, because me, I've never seen it. Never.
Yeah, and yeah, that one was serious, and that's why this guy has to go. So, sijui kama Julia bado yuko? Julia, are you still there? Julia ni kama Julia, si utoa.
Unanisikia?
Tunakusikia.
Sawa, niko kwa barabara ndio sababu tunasikia kama nawashautia.
Sawa, wacha uko na cause mingi.
Okay, nimesikia your analysis ya Eli ya Ruto. Ruto doesn't have anything to do with himself. I mean, he doesn't even know why he became president. He should have Googled first what is the work of a president. Angeandika chini afanye research. What responsibilities. Ndio shida ya dunia. Sasa ajui. Sasa nimemchekesha mnasema hata nyinyi atawalaunch. Sasa alikuwa na launch au tourists. Ama alikuwa na launch wazungu. Ama alikuwa na launch nini? That is Ruto. He doesn't know what his work is. Lakini ukweli mimi huwa nampata akiwa so ametembea so many countries, yani hajaona ya kutosha akabadilisha mwenendo. Lakini Eli, you are saying something like his advisors. It is not his advisors. That man is not advisable by anybody, even his wife. Hata bibi yake akiamua kulala kama ameangalia chini, miguu pilo ameweka pande ya miguu, that is what he'll do. He won't listen to his wife. Huh? Hata akiamua hata oga leo, hawezi oga. Hata bibi yake kimwambia ananuka, hawezi ananukia, anatoa uvundo, hawezi oga because he doesn't listen to anybody's advice. He doesn't listen to anyone. Ruto is the president, the deputy president, the cabinet secretary for education, security, kila kitu. Ruto ni kila kitu. Ruto ndiye anaenda kuinspect pale port, ako in charge ya port, aone hao wazungu vile wamekaa, sura zao. Ruto kila kitu, that is Ruto. So don't be surprised alienda hapo kwa hiyo. Akutuna kaushamba sasa aonekane tena salimia wazungu kutoka Norway. Sasa ati Mary imeingia anawasalimia. So I mean, and you see, you are saying something early that the mainstream media did not bash him. The Gen Z bashed him, and I saw a media from India bashing him, reporting how he was bashed by the Gen Z. I saw somewhere, mtaona a media from India bashing Ruto, what Gen Z said about that.
Hiyo ni first post. Wanamchapanga Ruto kila siku. That international Indian thing. It's, wanamchapa Ruto kila siku. First post.
Walimchapa.
Na mumeona of course hata Kimanongo leo nimeona alikuwa ameenda Al Jazeera, ndi nikashangaa shida huyu jamani nini. But anyway, siku hizi I think pia international media imeamua kuconcentrate na Kenya. Sijui kama umeona kitu kama hiyo. Yaani kama sasa ukienda first post huwezi maliza wiki bila story ya Kenya. For real.
That's crazy because this is the only time it has ever happened. Hata time ya Uhuru ama Kibaki hatukuficha kwa first post.
So wacha Julia make point yake.
So now you know he was being bashed. Now Ruto, that is Ruto. The other day, what did he do the other day? He likes doing stupid things anyways, natokea kwa media za ushamba tu. Pia leo nimeona Njiri, I was telling you that thing I was telling you jana, nikaona problem ya City Hall na Kenya Power. At now Kim Murkomen is coming out saying that kuna watu wamekuwa charged. Nani ati kuna watu wamekamatwa juu aliwamwaga takataka ati, and now the health minister ati anasema ati City Hall ioshe. Imagine people can even catch cholera. Imagine what City Hall did in the street. Na bado kuna mtu tu, yani somebody, yani that is how barbaric Kenyans are. Somebody ordered somebody to go and mwaga takataka hapo. Hata wakafunga mifereji ya sewage. So sewage, open sewer is running around hapo kwa Kenya Power. So minister
Mike ya Julia imeanzia ile kuongea ikipotelea.
Ati they should clean.
Aya, Julia wacha nikumute kidogo, ni kama Mike yako inaenda ikipotelea, ni kama yani tunakusikia unaongea unapotea. But anyway, sorry for that. So but I think majentini kama wameelewa huyu jamaa sana. That's why I don't think there is any advert you need to talk about Ruto. So we don't even need to talk about that. So Bwana Eli, maybe you can comment as we wait for Julia. Mike from Julia akikuja vizuri ataongea.
I just nilikuwa nataka kujua mafikirio yako about this international situation ambayo tuko nayo na Sudan, kwa sababu nasikia leo pia waliongea sana. I haven't got the clip yet, but a Sudanese friend of mine advised me that serikali ya huko, yule mwanajeshi sijui anaitwaje, alitamka maneno leo very boldly in Sudan about how they will deal with the Ruto if he continues. I think that launch of the alliance was supposed to be tomorrow. The Sudanese parallel government.
Unajua bwana ile, hebu mute kidogo. you don't even need to wait for any country to give a declaration. The truth of the matter is that Bwana Ruto ashaguza explosive materials. And what do you expect? So Bwana Eri, it is unfortunate, but tuko na mtu ambaye ajielewi, mtu ambaye ajui how to practice diplomacy. Diplomacy ni vitu ya kubembeleza. Hata wewe unajua Bwana Eri, wale watu wanafanyanga international relations, unajua diplomacy sio kitu ya kujifanya juaji. Diplomacy ni vitu ya hata yule anakaa mjinga unamsikiliza, hata kama ni warlord unamsikiliza. Diplomacy ni vitu vingine ambayo ni ujinga peke yake inatendekanga huko, si hata ni vitu ya nini. Hata yule mtu unafikiria ndiye aggressor, saa zingine lazima pia ujue vile huyo mtu hautamkwaza sana. So that is the issue. So it's unfortunate that we have somebody who doesn't know how to trend, and that is why we are suffering now. So this is a continuation of the wrong suffering of Kenya. We have been suffering for so long internally, but sasa imeenda out of order as the guy tries to seek for legitimacy outside. Sababu unajuanga Ruto ako na destructive hearts. Kitu yote Ruto anaguzanga lazima iende Mlama. So it is the wrong destructive spirit ile ambayo inafuatanga Ruto any relationship anaanzisha lazima ikufe. Walimalizana na Gachagua wake, hiyo iliisha. Walitupeanga 500 na 1992 na Jirongo, walimalizana. So ndio najaribu tu kukuonesha ya kwamba Ruto, if you deal with Ruto lazima mumalizane. He is very unstable. Are you aware that hata Jirongo hawezi kula kwake? Na Jirongo ndiye alikuwa anamfea kazi. So look at all those people who are falling out with Ruto. Hata mtu anasifu Ruto sahi, hata huyu akina Faruku Kibete, hao watu wote in the future watakuja kukosana wote because he cannot hold a relationship. Si akina Uhuru walikosana na yeye, hata huyu Raila anafikiria sasa yeye ndiye rafiki sana. They will fall out because hiyo ndio kazi ya Ruto. Ruto kazi yake ni to create new friends, na wale his work is continually creating new friends because he loses everybody on the way. So unaona hata sasa amekosana na Wakikuyu, watu wa mlima hawasikizani very soon. So yeye kazi yake ni kuanga tu kuongeza list ya wale watu wamekosana na wao. So that is unfortunate. So sisi tuna deal na very destructive hands. So Eli, I'm sorry for giving you that long answer, but that is what I felt I needed to tell you. What do you think?
Nakubali na wewe kabisa kwa sababu vile umesema very clearly, international relations, international affairs, you have to keep you have to, it's not just carrot, it's a stick, but it's a carrot and stick, but mostly a carrot. You don't show ati uko na nguvu na unaweza kufanya hii, unaweza kufanya hii. Sasa unaona hii situation ya Sudan, it's a very dangerous thing, very dangerous. So hao watu kesho they're assembling tomorrow in Nairobi. I don't know which building, but it's tomorrow. And I would like to know whether the NIS, Kenya's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which is led by Mudavadi, and the rest of the government, if they've sat down and thought, what are the consequences of this event that is being, launched by the parallel Sudanese government tomorrow? That country, 150,000 people have died since the conflict. No, I don't know where, but it's tomorrow. Yes, it's tomorrow. And that's why the Sudanese government the other week, they gave Kenya a warning shot. Don't try. Don't try. Don't do it. So it is tomorrow, and it is going ahead anyway because those leaders, the other week they met and all that. So it is strange that they chose Kenya as the ground for doing this. Of course, that man is Ruto's friend, but it is strange that the same government that helped Uganda to arrest, to abduct Kizza Besigye, because Kizza Besigye is trying to overthrow the regime of Museveni, is the same government which is meddling in the affairs, internal affairs of Sudan. You know, it's a very, very dangerous thing. You know, I think it's actually more dangerous than our volatile relationship with Somalia. So they need to fix this thing very, very quick. It's not too late. You know, they can just tell the rebel group that has found itself in Kenya, I am sorry, we've looked at what you have on the table. I know that you are giving me gold and I'm selling it to Dubai, but the lives of my people, Kenya, is more important. Hey, lakini I can't see Ruto talking like that. That one is just impossible. Ruto does not talk like that, because I remember at the ICC, when Ruto was finally given the chance to speak, he just said that this is like a movie. He did not take the ICC matter seriously at all. He called it a movie. In fact, one of the judges had to stop him, from speaking like that. So, for me, I think that Mudavadi or whoever is in charge of foreign affairs needs to be repairing a lot of our diplomatic relationships, because we have been put in a very, very strange position. In fact, Sudan said yesterday that they have stopped buying Kenyan tea. Now, I don't know if that means that there is sanctions against any trade factor there to do with the tea industry between Sudan and Kenya, because that is one of Kenya is the biggest tea exporter to Sudan. And so that means that a lot of people, farmers and workers, are going to lose their income in Kenya. So those are just consequences of just one person speaking like he doesn't care, doing things for himself. We already now know about the gold that he gets from Sudan and brings it to Kenya, to Nairobi, and makes it Kenyan gold, sells it to Dubai. In fact, I had this Moses Langat, the Moses Langat guy who was in Al Jazeera interview today, the panel, the pro-Ruto guy who lives in London. He was asked a question, and then he said that he gave figures, amazing figures, about the production of sugar. Kenya now produces sugar, so much sugar that we have surplus sugar. Now, me, I come from the sugar belt, where people plant sugar cane. But we know that over the years, and it's still happening now, sugar can be brought in from as far as Brazil, because the sugar from Brazil is very, very cheap, affordable to import. It's repackaged in Mombasa, and then it is sold as sugar made by one or two Kenyan sugar factories. And then the impact on the farmers is obvious. Those who plant sugarcane in Western Kenya, Nyanza and other regions. So when I heard this person speaking in Al Jazeera, it's just reminded me of Ruto's gold affairs, representing Sudanese gold as Kenyan and selling it around the world. Everything that this man is interested in is for his own interests. I've spoken enough, so I want the panel to continue speaking, I will be on the chat. Otherwise, sitaki kuwa na monopoly kwa conversation ya leo usiku. Asante. Asante sana Jiru Mwaura. Kwani Njiru umetoroka? Halo Njiru. You know me, I'm not shy to talk. I can talk and talk until the cows come home. Mkinipatia microphone hapa nini hapa, si microphone ile ya kawaida, lakini ya kuongea hapa kwa hii platform, naweza kuongea for the next 2 days. Of course, niko na kazi lakini wacha tu niseme tuendelee na ile mwenendo ambao tuko nayo, ile ya revolution. It shall not be broadcasted. You know, it's quiet, but it's happening. And the Kenyans are going to attack this regime at various points in the most constructive, intelligible way possible. And you can see how these people are performing in international things like interviews. They can't even handle themselves. It's a very, very shameful thing that our country is going through. Mwaura uko wapi?
Okay, wacha nifunge sasa.
Asante Mwaura.